I'm sorry. I was distracted by candy and medicoats and all these other stuff. My bad.
It's a lot going on, you guys. It's a lot to keep track of,
Sadly,
you know?
YouTube doesn't have it where I can just easily change the title and stuff.
Yeah, if only.
Oh, Enthuse didn't have to change. Enthuse is on Twitch.
Ah, there you go, Enthuse.
Yes, the Great Mars Revival.
Yes.
Comic.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys for being patient with me. I was definitely not feeling it last week. When I went to the doctor, I tested positive for both the flu and strep throat. So that was fun. Yeah, there was no way I would have been able to make it to stream. So thank you all for your patience and just being a wonderful, amazing chat.
Welcome back, Mason. Sorry about that.
I hope you didn't treat Ori too poorly.
We actually had Dichotomy for Comic Corner last week, but Ori did have to do
that's fun.
solo on excuse me, on Drawing and Dragons. Oh yes, so Mars. I think
so
maybe
sad.
I did tell you this off of stream. I don't remember anymore. Life is a lot.
I probably forgot.
But yeah, so with Dichotomy on the stream, I actually got to play around with an idea that I wanted to do for our next sort of Avatar quote-unquote upgrade for Streamiversary, which I had briefly talked to you about. It was the fact that someone in chat had once been like, "Oh, always holding up the tea to your lips, but never able to take a sip," and it was like, "Oh, you're so funny."
Such is the lot in our life.
So
it's not a lot, but it's our life.
That the gift, the way, so I thought that I could do that in a way where it would make us take a sip before we go back into our resting position from our talking position, right? So we're holding it up, and we sip, and then we go quiet. And we put the tea down.
Ooh.
And that would have been the idea. And the way I thought that I could do this is that by making the start of the idle GIF, the idle animation, be the sip, and then just have a really, 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 really long section of the blinking, so that it never actually gets to loop by the time we talk, because we keep making noise, and we're just good like that. And on the off chance that it does happen, that's how it would work. However, this hinged on the idea that the GIF is restarted when the image changes, right? So this hinges on the fact that the GIF starts playing from the beginning when it reverts back to our other form, right? That it always starts at the beginning.
I see. So it doesn't give it that chance to loop.
Yeah. So it's always like, it flips to the idle GIF, it starts the GIF from the beginning when it flips. That was my thought.
Cool.
Well, unfortunately, so in trying to do sort of this fun little bouncy animation thing with Dichotomy's phone through that same principle, I learned that is not how Reactive Fuji works. Reactive Fuji is just constantly playing the GIF, and thus, at any point in time, it can stop. It will just turn to the idle GIF. And now you can actually see a little bit, if you look really, really, really hard, when I change, you can see that sometimes my blink is not
Study
smooth,
the avatar.
because it starts sort of randomly in the middle of the blink somewhere, and it'll stutter. But it's obviously very, very only mildly noticeable.
Honestly, I never would have noticed
because
it
blink is only 3 frames, right? And you're not like staring at us, blinking at you, you know, like in the middle of talking or anything. Hello, Pastry Puff. Would that be... No, it's not that it would be too much sipping. It's that the sip would only happen sometimes, depending on, you know, the sip would start in the middle of the animation. You know, like, it would just randomly cut in and out at anywhere that the sip was. And that would be the problem. That would be the major problem. And... technically, I could actually fix the problem with the blinking. Actually, no. I'm sorry. The blinking doesn't have a problem. The reason the blinking doesn't have a problem is because of they're identical. The GIF loops identically with the blinks, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Right, so they're constantly looping at the exact same rate, the blinks. So no matter where the last one ends off, the next one is starting. Yeah. So it's the mouth that does it, is my apologies. Sometimes it starts in like the middle animation or something like that. But again, very unnoticeable overall.
Very
in the
not
grand scheme,
noticeable
versus
at
with
all.
like a sip, that's like a big gesture. That's like very important to the whole thing.
That would stand
So,
out, yeah.
Unfortunately, it means that I can't do that.
Oh man.
Yeah, oh man, indeed.
Such is life sometimes. This is why we can't have nice things, guys.
It's more, the reason we can't have nice things is because they get exponentially more complicated from this level onward, and I'm basically attempting. Is it possible to have the idle? No. So basically the way that the program, it's not even a program, it's a website. The website that we use is literally like, you get 2 images, and you get one that is the active image for when we're talking, and one that is the idle image for when we're not talking. And the fact that it even allows me to upload GIFs in any way is sort of like a workaround, if that makes any sense. That's sort of like a feature that is just sort of in addition. But again, we're talking very, very simplistic. That is like the level of editing I have. Then, you know, I can edit some other things. Like I can make us like fade in between. See, like this. I can make my being idle dim, like that. I can dim Mars's image instead.
There I go.
That.
Low light.
I can do a little bounce every time I start talking. Yep. Bounce, bounce. Like that. That's a specific website function. That's not something I'm doing. And those are sort of the options.
Yeah.
that
So
you sort of
the
get.
specific website we're using gives us some options to play around with. None of those were animated by Ori.
The biggest benefit. Ooh, Excite Amazing. Definitely have to post it in the Discord so everybody can look at it. When you do
Please
post it
do.
But the benefit that this program specifically allows, again, it's not a program, it's a website. The benefit that this website allows specifically is that it allows, one, for as long as you're in Discord, everybody in Discord is separate. Before, at the very beginning of our streaming career, we didn't use this website. We used a built-in, well, it's not built-in, an OBS plugin that allowed me to...
Oh, that thing was a nightmare.
Well, it allowed you to do an image, like what I'm doing, which did allow me to do the GIF thing that I was talking about. But it hinged on the audio in the mixer, and thus, no matter what, originally it couldn't differentiate between any audio coming from my desktop and the Discord. But even at this point now where it can differentiate between desktop general audio and Discord audio, it can't differentiate between, say, Mars and Dylan and Cinder or anything. That's what the website allows us to do.
It tried
makes
its
that
best,
possible.
but it just
doesn't
manage.
work that way. It's just not specific a Discord thing. There is and what makes this great is that I have basically full control over it. While Mars does change her own avatars, I could change her avatar. I do change Dylan's avatar.
Yes. So if I forget, if I'm still in my cosplay by the time Comic Corner comes around, Ori can help me.
I can fix it. I can do that sort of thing. And that if the thing breaks down, I have full control to figure out what's wrong and deal with that. It's all through me, specifically.
Yes.
However, the next step...
Ori is the admin, if you will.
Yeah, basically. The upgraded version of this would actually have to be downloading like I said, it gets exponentially more in-depth and more difficult. It would be downloading a program. All of us have to download a program. Mars, Dylan, and myself have to set up this program with the avatars. Okay, now it would allow for, like, you could change it to angry face or surprised face or, like, different modes. But each person would have to manually do that individually. and it does allow for a lot more customization and a lot more of this like SIP thing that I was talking about that could be done through that. However,
Which
then
is cool and nice.
but they would have to then each individually run this program, stream it to me using, I'm pretty sure, OBS, and then I would have to key them in to our OBS.
I think my
And-
computer would actually die.
I don't know if it would die. It definitely, if it was trying to play Baldur's Gate 2 as like
Don't
well.
forget
But
about
on
it.
its own, it probably wouldn't die because it's really not. It's not. We're not talking like VTuber level of like stuff going on, but it is more stuff going on. But the biggest downside of that is if something breaks, that's on them, right?
Yeah.
If their model breaks, that I can't do anything.
And I gotta be honest, I ain't tech savvy enough to
Yeah.
fix it.
And so it's just like it makes it a lot more crazy and wild. It doesn't look
Crazy
silly
fun
to me, but
times.
yeah, it doesn't.
The whole shebang.
Suggestions for so this is the title of the whole comic. It's about a socially awkward girl genius who builds robots. Well, any title suggestions? So it's just kind of slice of lifey, right? You don't have like a big overarching plot that you know of, if I remember correctly. You just kind of have a little don't die. Bottle
I'm
episodes.
trying not to. First thing coming to mind.
No,
was
enthuse. Push it back
Built
down.
That Way.
Ooh, that's fun. I like that. Ooh, I like that. That's good. Built That Way. Or Built This Way.
Built
Either
This
thing.
Way.
Yeah, that's fun.
That one's
Because of,
just
like,
kind
the
of like a
socially
which
awkward
vibe
thing.
are you going for?
That's good though. I like that. Can I top that? I gotta say, coming up with names for shit
Your move,
is
Ori.
really hard. I won't fully explain, but Dylan and I have been thinking about trying to name something recently, and it was for like months at this point, and only finally, like the last couple days, did we have a breakthrough on a name.
I was about to ask, which one of us came up with the name for Outcast?
I have no recollection.
Me neither. That's the problem.
I honestly, good thing. No one can be high and mighty about it. I think that's really fun then, Mason.
I'm gonna say team effort.
I'm pretty sure. I feel like, and this could be totally wrong. We do not have receipts. I feel like you said Outcast, and then I was like with the E, cause like cast system.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty
No,
sure that's
that
what
was-
happened.
Because you said with the E, and then
Mhm.
our first logo had the A as like a hierarchy triangle,
Mhm.
which kind of looked like a pyramid, so we eventually got rid of it.
Yeah, we changed it. I like the new one better. Oh, well,
I
thank
like-
you for the lurk.
I like the
Hans.
new one too. I think
Hope
it
you've been
looks
good.
amazing on a poster, gotta say.
I definitely see where you're going, Enthuse. Any other robot puns? Botulism. No, I'm joking. No, don't do that.
You flew too close to the sun, Ori.
I specifically knew it wasn't going to be good. My brain went to something on like unbothered, but the bot is capitalized. but it's not-
Unbothered.
Yeah, but exactly. Making it the TH kind of sucks. It's a visual pun, not a verbal pun.
I mean, visual puns can work. I mean, when you say Outcast, you don't necessarily think caste system right away.
Yeah, but that is still a verbal pun in the sense of that if you set it up right, you would understand the pun, you know?
Okay, I see where you're coming
Like
from.
like one of my favorite like puns, but it's honestly more visual, is it's like you like walk by, you know, a place and there's a penny on the ground and you pick it up and, you know, it says it's good luck and everything like that. And then the next day you walk by it again, you walk by the same place and you pick up another penny heads up and you think, what a coincidence, because coincidence is spelled like coin.
Coincidence.
Yeah, but you don't say like,
Love
what a
it.
coincidence, you know, right? Like, it's a more, you have to know how coincidence is spelled.
It's like, this is an insider knowledge joke.
Yeah.
Those are the best kinds of jokes.
Yeah, what a coin
Yeah,
incident.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Enthused. That's the level we're working
That's
with here.
yeah.
And what a beautiful level it is. Ah,
Oh, okay. You guys want to see one more Ace Attorney animation I did? It doesn't have any sound
fuck yeah.
because it's just in the thing, and I didn't add sound because I was lazy.
I'm also gonna say, a side note, guys, I just got, well, not just, I actually 2 weeks ago got a laminator for my job, and I am
Ooh.
having the most fun.
I love
right
it,
now.
Mason. I think it's great.
Ooh,
Yeah,
what do
what
we
you
got?
been
What do we got?
laminating? We'd go and built this way. I
Built
think
this
Mars
way.
nailed it on the, on
Woo!
the intro.
You know, I got it with Outcast, got it with Built
Yeah,
This Way.
exactly. I don't think Outcast really had any other names.
Oh, Outcast had a ton of other names. I have a
Did
whole
it?
list of them. Yeah.
Oh, really? I don't remember
Oh my
calling it
gosh,
anything else ever.
there were so many. I can actually find the
Okay.
papers
Well, while you do
that
that,
I was
let's
scribbling
watch
on to
my little
brainstorm.
my little phoenix animation that'll going in a video.
I know that's what was coming up, but I was so ready for you to say My Little Pony with the way that buildup was going.
He's so cute.
He's adorable.
He's fixing his tie. Guys, can you tell that I've never... Why is he so happy? Because he's a lawyer. Basically all this is that Max goes like, you're a lawyer, right? After like kind of being like annoying, right? And he's like, you're a lawyer, you need to help me. And I'm like, fix his tie? Yes, I am.
You're like, yes,
so it's more like, he's like,
I
oh
got
yes,
the knowledge."
my time, right? That's why he's like startled at the beginning. He's like, oh, you're a lawyer, right? Oh, yes, I am. Oh, yes.
Oh, that's brilliant. That
But,
looks so good, Ori.
Thank you. I'm having too much fun. He's really cute. I gotta say, I have drawn Phoenix Wright literally one time before this, and it was for, I think it was MP's, got one of the bust prizes. For
Oh,
something we did.
yes.
Where is it? This one. And it's their prosecutor Phoenix, like AU. Where is it? This one.
Oh crap!
This
I
is
ran
like
out of
the
Velcro
only
way too
time
quickly.
I drew Phoenix ever before doing these little doodles. So
Holy
I'm
crap,
pretty
what a
proud.
difference.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud. Well, this, you know, he's supposed to be evil, and he's got like the Edgeworth bang, and obviously this inspired
Vibe.
my emo Phoenix. For those who have seen my emo Phoenix, but yes, so very good. But
Lovely.
my cute little
indeed.
doodle Phoenix.
He's so
It's literally,
cute.
it's supposed to be so simple. So like in this one that I'm doing, which is going to be a reel eventually, I'm putting in a lot more effort on, like, there was like the general sketches, and then there's like the more refined sketches of how the whole thing works, and then I'll go in with the lines, and we'll see if I fully color it or just pseudo color it. That's like a future Ori question.
That's always the question.
But with the other one, I literally do like rough, this is ID on the page, and then I put lines over it. So I'm just like, it is messy by default, because otherwise I would never ever be able to finish it. But there's like a couple, like,
I mean, essentially, that's like a thumbnail, so I'd say you're doing it right.
well, there's like a couple little like shorts that we've done, or like little moments in videos that I'm like, oh, this would really benefit from like doing a little funky animation of the thing. And I have that ability to do it. There's like one, and it's like it's like, oh yeah, Phoenix gets on the floor, sitting cross-legged on the floor. He's like turning the vase, and he's like, yeah, just say, hold on, I'll get it, and he's just flipping the vase around. And I feel like that's something that would be a fun short that had animation to it of us talking in the background, and that would just give us a little more like oomph on the YouTube scene. So those are my goals. There won't be animation
How many Let's Players put their own animation to what they're playing?
Yeah, I gotta say, this is one of those benefits of like, damn, we're variety streamers, right? But
Oh,
we
yeah,
can make it
try.
work.
I think we hella make it work. We
And
got the
especially
balance.
if, especially now that I know that, like, the little
Oh, that's
baby animation, like the really quick, rough, like, is fun and people like it, it's like, okay, we can do a lot more now.
It's like, okay, this is worthwhile. This is worth the
Well,
time doing.
this is so
It's not
easy
just
now,
something for
in the
you.
sense of, like, it's really fast.
That is
Thank you,
lovely
Stream
indeed.
Elements, for finally coming in with that.
Beautiful Stream Elements, right on time. Sorta, kinda, not really.
A little late to the party.
A little bit. I wonder if I should leave this box out for Misty. It's so skinny, but she might like it.
It would be so funny. Cats are liquid.
Not this cat.
Really?
This cat refuses to be liquid. If some space is too small for her, she won't go near it.
Damn.
She
That cat is
actually
solid.
avoids most boxes,
Your cat be solid.
which is wild. I'm like, do you cat?
No.
Do you know how to cat?
Like, you've had multiple cats now that are kind of dog.
So Scurry, my first ever cat, Scurry, she loved to run around. That was her big thing. That's how she got her name, because she scurried all over the place. She loved to play tag, but I'm seeing that more and more with a lot of cats. So I would say she was the most cat-like. Simba
played fetch, right?
did play a little bit of fetch, yeah. She did play fetch, but she was also very cat-like in her demeanor. Like, she would cuddle with you, but it had to be on her terms. Like, you couldn't just like pick her up and put her down. She would have to come to you. Misty is very much like Simba in that she'll do the I'm hanging out with you by sitting next to you thing, but it's got to be my choice. But she's a bit more cuddly, I think. I don't know. Both her and Simba were pretty cuddly. You just had to catch them in the right mood.
Yeah. Honestly, I think my dog is probably pretty cat.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Which is really funny to say. Because when we first got her...
The mic isn't picking this up.
What?
I really hope the mic isn't picking me up.
Sadly, it is.
Damn it!
Such is life.
Okay, so every time I open my mouth, you just hear... Great.
Yep.
Awesome.
But, what was I saying?
Can't be helped.
When we first got Riley
being cat-like.
Yeah, when we first got Riley, she was like quintessential dog, which was really funny because it was like, I had a dog, we had a dog already, we had a dog at the time when we got Riley, and that dog was classic little dog. She was a dachshund, and like, if you know anything about dachshunds, you knew what this dog was about. She was quintessential dachshund when you learn about dachshunds.
She was, if you looked up the definition of dachshund, her picture would be there.
Yeah. She, very dachshund, like,
the assignment.
Exactly. But she thus didn't do a lot of dog things, She was just kind of hoity-toity, because that's a dachshund for you. When we got, and she was my first dog ever. So when we got Riley actually chased her tail. Riley played fetch. Riley did all the like, this is a dog thing, right? Like, this is cartoon level amount of dog, right? And so it was like, oh wow, like, this is actually a real thing. Dogs do chase their tail, I have videos of her doing it. Dogs do, play fetch just on their own without being trained to do it. So it was like, oh, how wild.
Like, oh, it's not a myth.
But now in her old age, I find that she's definitely leaned more cat, where she's like, yeah, she'll cuddle, but again, on her terms. Right. Don't, if she's lying there and she's asleep or whatever, she'll cuddle, well, she won't cuddle. She'll let you pet her, and she might like roll over. But if you like try to get her up on the couch with you to like sit there, she's like, no, I don't want what. I gotta be the one to be on the couch. Like, no.
She's like, how dare you? The audacity.
Yeah, the audacity of trying to get me on here just gets
human.
down.
How could you?
Yeah, exactly. So,
what a character.
Yeah. She's a wild one.
She is in her retirement and she has earned it.
She really is. Oh my goodness. She's so old.
So crazy how old they get.
I know.
Like, stop!
Stop getting old.
Stop getting old! Oh no, not you too.
It's just a tickle. It's a nose tickle. I can tell.
My poor mom had a headache today. And I'm just standing there like, oh no, that's how mine started.
Oh no!
Fuck!
Oh god, no. Oof.
So, yeah.
See, it's times like this
That's rough.
when I'm very happy that my entire job is basically working alone / outside pretty far away from people. The only interaction I physically have to have with somebody is they have to sign a piece of paper for me. Sometimes we shake hands. Sometimes there's like a fist bump or something that goes on. But like, I'm very much...
I imagine it goes
distanced.
pretty quick.
Yeah. I think, honestly, the longest one I had was the foreman at this job, and it was the first time I met this foreman. So the way that it works is that, like, there are job sites that I go to, and it could be any number of foremen. There's different, like, companies that we work with, and so it could be any foreman. But, you know, after a certain period of time, you, like, start to know the foremans. Like, you see, you know, reoccurring foremans, because they work for the company, and they work in that area, and you can kind of get an idea. But there's always more foremans. Like, you know, just mathematically. There's a lot of them, right? And so I met a new one today, and he actually, like, invited me into the truck in order to, like, go over the layout, which is the first time. It was fucking cold, though, so, like, wasn't a bad thing.
For the first day of spring, it was freezing.
It's freezing.
Not happy.
Yeah, it warmed up, but, like, this morning was terrible.
This morning was fucking cold.
So wild. There's a massive Ace Attorney swap AU.
Ooh.
Lots of ruffles. Yeah. Phoenix with ruffles is really wild. Okay.
I could see a
incredibly mild, very, very mild, just like outfit related joke for Dungeon Meshi. You know, mute now. I'll type in the chat if you don't want to hear it. I'll type when it's done. Really, really quick. I just want to also tell Mars. Basically, there's a moment where Leos is wearing like just normal basic clothes, like not his armor, and then they get kind of torn up, and he's like, oh no, I don't want to wear all these rags and stuff, and he like puts on his armor and whatever. He's like, ooh, yeah, I wouldn't look good in fancy clothes. like I'm not built for fancy clothes.
He just knows that about himself. Good for him.
So it was very, very funny. It just gave that vibe
in himself that I wish I had.
Just gave that sort of vibe with the Phoenix wearing ruffles. That is just like that's not for Phoenix. I don't know. I don't know how to explain. I feel like it's the spiky hair. I
kind of see it for Phoenix though.
Really, I feel like the spiky hair is like, nah, I can't see the ruffles.
I feel like there's a balance to it, right? Like you can't give him as many as Edgeworth has, but you know, a select few in just the right spots. I mean, Phoenix does have feathers. We could give him ruffles. We could definitely give him ruffles.
If you say so. Oh, guys, Dylan...
I gotta say though, you and I are on the freaking clothes swaps today with Fairy Tale and Phoenix.
Oh,
and
yeah.
All of it.
Oh my god. So guys, Fairy Tale was my first ever anime. Like, that is the anime that made me start watching anime. Thanks to Tumblr, because I was on Tumblr for like Gravity Falls stuff, and a lot of the Gravity Falls people, or I can't even remember if it was specifically the people I was following that did Gravity Falls stuff, or it was just Tumblr was like like Fairy Tail was coming
Here,
out, so it was like
enjoy.
new, right? Like Fairy Tail was still coming out, so it was just like new, and a lot of people were drawing it. And I was like, what the hell is this blue cat and pink haired boy? Like, I keep seeing him. I gotta like see what this blue cat is, and I learned his name was Happy, and I was like, okay, Happy Blue Cat. Oh, it's from Fairy Tail. I was like, oh well, if so many people that like Gravity Falls like it, you know, maybe I will too. So I watched it. Of course, I love it. It's great. You know, it's great. It's not great, but it's great. I'll get into that in a second.
Natsu is the original fire baby, guys.
But yes, Natsu is my first ever anime boy. I love him. He's fantastic, and it's great. So I started watching that. Must have been like 2014.
That had to be in high school, yeah.
Yeah, it was high school. It was 10th grade. It must have been like 2014. Fairy Tail ended with like its season before Fairy Tail Zero. Yep, yeah, that's like the very beginning, Mason. Yeah, that's like the first arc, if I remember correctly. But I had like finished it basically. Like I got up, I had watched all the episodes. There was Fairy Tail Zero was out, but that's like a prequel, and I had like, and that was coming out, and I was like, I didn't really have a desire to watch it. I'm here for Natsu, man. Like, you know, come on. So I didn't watch it. And then in 2018, so that's like 2 years later, I'm solidly in college now, and I'm like trying to get through Naruto, and I've watched like a lot of other anime at this point. Fairy Tail season 9, so coming out after what I had watched up to, it started coming out. And, you know, I wasn't really, it had been a while, right? So I wasn't like dying to try and be on top of it. And, you know, Voltron was like, I was in the Voltron era, right?
Yes.
Like deep in
big
Voltron.
switch.
So it was just like, I didn't really make a point to try and watch it, so I never watched it. And I just kind of, and then especially after Voltron season, you know, last season, I was like, yeah, I'm just not watching the last season of Fairy Tail either. I'm gonna live in my happy time.
I have been
here.
burned, and now any ending traumatizes me.
Well, I never watched the Voltron end last season, and I still haven't, and I never will.
The threat,
but I
of
found
it
out
ending
about
has
right.
traumatized
Yeah, so it's
me.
just like I don't want to do it with Fairy Tail. I'm not in the space, so I don't know if it was good or not. I don't want to do it. I'm just not gonna make a point. Now we're talking years fucking later. Right now it's 2024.
Cut
Mars
to
is
the
like
present day.
Mars is like, hey Ori, look, they're coming out with even more Fairy Tail, and I was like,
Which I was amazed at because I remember a whole deal where Fairy Tail was over. Like everyone was celebrating, like, oh, the story's come to an end. Time to say goodbye to the characters. Oh my gosh. And now suddenly it's back. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
And
like,
so-
I didn't know there was more. I thought this was the end.
with that, it's like, all right, well, I guess I'll finally start watching this last season so that I can watch that because, like, come on. And honestly, I don't have a ton of backlog anime that I'm trying to watch or anything, so it's good. It works out.
One day I will convince you to watch Migi and Dolly.
Probably not. The next one I plan to do is that
It's so good though.
I know, but it doesn't feel like one I could get behind to watch on my own. If we were watching it together,
you don't have to watch it on your own. We'll watch it together. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, then maybe.
That would be a together anime because
Okay, yes.
I know you would look at it and be like, okay, yeah, this is weird and shit. You need me there to explain the symbolic meaning.
Yeah, see, exactly.
You need me to
100%.
talk you through everything.
Yeah, exactly. See, when you get it.
Of course I get it.
But, where was I going with this? My brain blanked out.
You said you didn't have a backlog of anime to watch.
Oh yeah, so I started watching Fairy Tail, and so this gets into the sort of like, it's great, but it's not great, right? And this is something I sort of knew early. It is very, see, it's
very
how do
shonen.
it's
from what I
very
understand.
shonen, but it's also like it's childish and adult at the same time. I don't know how to explain. It's got like the whole arcs and the whole thing. It's very like spelled out. Like there's not nuance, you know. There's not like
subtlety is
try to-
not.
there's
in
no
their
subtlety,
language.
you know. It's very much just like do thing, go thing. Like here's quest, do quest, right? Like
Power
like
of friendship.
yeah, Natsu's overpowered. We're bros. It's a good time. Fun music plays as he
DBZ power
handily beats
levels
the bad guys. Like it's
mean nothing.
it's very cathartic, but it's not like good, if that makes sense. Right? It's not like yes, like okay, Dungeon Meshi fucking deep as fuck. The shit, it's like the literal layers, the physical layer, like oh my fucking god. Okay,
all the layers.
I can't even explain because I can't spoil anything. Really good, and it starts out being this like fun little adventure anime, and then it just like you're at that point now, guys, in the anime, right? The anime has hit the jump, like the cliff.
I gotta say, okay, that moment, and you know the moment I'm talking about, Ori. That moment was dark in the manga,
Yeah.
but holy shit, the way they framed it in the anime,
Yeah. That's why
I feel like that got me even more.
I hope that the anime goes all the way to the end. Like, I hope we get enough seasons to go all the way to the end. Because what I just fucking read today... Ooh.
When can I borrow the books?
Help me remember to bring them on Sunday, because I need you to sign the poster. So I have to bring 12 and 13. Right. So help me remember. Remind me on Friday.
And you gotta remind me to bring Iron Widow.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting that one too.
But yeah, Dylan and I are coming to my parents on Sunday, so I have to stop by.
Nice.
But it is like, oh, yeah, we'll make a trade. But it was just like, can't even imagine it in the anime. It'd be a lot. Like, if it wasn't M before, you know? Like, damn.
Holy shit.
Yeah, okay, this is a warning. I love Dungeon Meshi. It's fantastic. If you can't deal with maybe not significant, but certain levels of body horror, like be warned, it gets into it. Okay, like it gets into it.
There's definitely a little
overly graphic, but I will say I was at the point where I was a little uncomfortable.
Oh man!
It was a little, and it wasn't graphically visual. It was like the like what they were doing, and it was just like
the suggestion of it.
Not even the suggestion, literally what was happening, but it was more being described and mildly like insinuated, less than like they were doing the entire action, and it was like I'm still a little like this is real creepy. I will say, this last book was a little like, woo. You thought Leo needs like a gremlin before. My god.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So just be warned that it does get it. Get it, girl. You know? At a certain point.
Get it, Leos.
Yeah. So yeah, just fair warning there.
Good for him. At least he got a decent meal.
Mars.
I assume, I don't know, I'm saying this without any context whatsoever.
Yeah, I am excited for you to read it. But speaking of literally all of this, because honestly Dungeon Meshi has some good examples of this, but let's go into today's topic now that Mars is here and alive.
Yes.
And it
certainly helps. I mean, I could phone in as a ghost, you know?
I'd rather not. Woo! I will say, I don't want to have to draw a ghost avatar for you. Kind of rough.
That's a shame. No Mars spirit form.
No, I already had to. I had to draw those eloquent countenance. I literally was drawing them.
I watched the stream after it went up on Friday. Those outfits came out good. Holy crap!
I rushed Dylan's
a crazy
really
amount of time.
They were mine was easy. Dylan's was really detailed and not symmetrical for 90% of it. So that kind of oofed it.
That sucks.
But yeah.
Hey, you live to tell the tale.
Indeed.
Character presences, indeed. Alrighty, so to launch into this topic, and I am going to try to be as coherent as I possibly can. As you can see by that first half hour, my brain is still all over the damn place.
You could do it, Mars.
We are going to power through.
I believe. You just gotta believe.
I believe. Okay. So what the hell am I talking about when I say character presences? It's a very weird thing to say, this is important, think about them when you're making your story. So when I'm talking about character presences, I'm mostly referring to characters who aren't fully seen. And now this could be for a number of reasons. Maybe they aren't shown right away. Maybe they're shown a little bit later in the series. Maybe they're shown later in a flashback. Or they might not ever be shown at all. But the weight of that character still affects the story. Okay, so let's break this down. Why should you care about a character's presence? If this character has no appearance, like let's take that example. Let's take the one where they don't appear at all. If this character has absolutely no appearance in the story, why the hell should we care about what presence they leave on the plot or care about them at all? Well, in this example, now this is a really classic example. The first one I could think of, the first one coming to mind, is Darth Plagueis from the prequel Star Wars movies, in that we never see this guy. We only hear about him through Chancellor Palpatine's story. We never see him.
Yes,
We never
Mason.
get to know who he is. Oh, absolutely, Mason. I feel like Ori does that all the time.
I have never changed the thumbnail, but you can change literally all of it. You can change the cover. You can change the thumbnail of each video of each like episode. You can change like literally all the entire contents of the entire episode. You can change just
That's
some
how
of
we
them.
made our edits when
Yeah.
the anniversary rolled around.
Yeah.
It's a very
You can change
useful
the
tool.
title. You can change the comments, like your little author's note at the end.
Very user friendly, which is nice. But yes. Okay, so Darth Plagueis? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm
Yeah.
saying that right. Okay, so Chancellor Palpatine is telling Anakin this story. He's talking about how he found the secret to conquering death, and Anakin asks, can this method be learned? And Chancellor Palpatine tells him, not from a Jedi. So we never saw Darth Plagueis. We never met him, but he still has an impact on the story going forward. This is how the Chancellor lured Anakin to the dark side. This is how he introduced him to the idea of saving Padme, and also set him on the path that would ultimately lead him to becoming Darth Vader. That one's a very classic example where you feel the character's presence in the story. Now, I'm going to bounce to another example, because this is why I started thinking of this topic. I have been watching way too many video essays about, as the internet is lovingly calling it, Nuvatar, the live action Avatar: The Last Airbender on Netflix.
Quick aside, I haven't seen almost anything about the actual new live action show itself, but the internet
neither.
is now
I've not
pushing
watched it.
more. No, like not even like stuff's come up in like my feed about it or anything. However, what has come up in my feed is people still talking about the original animated version, and being like, "This is why it's so good. Look at it. Go look at it. It's that.
Yep.
Forget the other one. It's that."
I'm getting those too. I'm getting the video essays. I'm getting the fan art. I have.
You like the
okay,
live action enthusiast?
quick aside. I have so much Zutara on my feed for some reason. I don't hate it, but I'm also confused.
Yeah.
Like,
I
why
only
is the
saw
algorithm
one.
think I want this? But continuing on, this is what got me thinking about it, because they make a massive change in Nuvatar that kind of changes how you view the story a little bit.
And that's why
Now-
I think that it's not necessarily bad enthuse. I think that the idea is that why make a remake if you're literally gonna lose everything that it was?
I mean, that's kind of always the question when it comes to live action remakes. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think.
Remakes can be good if your specific intent, like Scooby-Doo has had very good remakes. It's also had
Scooby-Doo
bad
has
remakes.
had so many.
But like,
Batman
know-
has had good remakes.
yeah, you can have good remakes of something.
Superman.
But the good remakes still keep the essence of what made you like the thing in the first place. And I feel like that's the problem people are having with the live action, is that it's like, you should have just made a new show.
Yeah. It's what they should have done is they could
Ooh,
have made a prequel story. Like if they really wanted to,
That could have been fun.
talk about the war and because this is the thing that gets me. So across all these video essays, it seems that the biggest common thread is they really, really wanted to show the genocide of the Airbenders because we have a higher like MTV rating. We can get away with it. I think it would also be
But
really
Sokka
cool to
can't be
see.
misogynistic.
Yeah, Sokka can't be misogynistic because God forbid a character actually learns something. We treat our audience like they have a brain.
Ooh, interesting, Pastry Puff. I can't wait for that.
Ooh. Okay, that's really cool. I love having stuff to look forward to. That's awesome.
There's a lot to look forward to in Ace Attorney, and it just it keeps getting better.
There's so much. It's lovely. Okay. But I will rip the Band-Aid off now. It literally happens within the first 5 minutes of episode 1, to my understanding. So where the cartoon kept the genocide of the Airbenders off screen because it was a Nickelodeon show and you definitely could not show that. not back then, at least. They couldn't figure a way around the censors there.
I don't think you could.
We're
now,
left. I don't know. I feel like recent kids shows have really pushed the envelope, and I'm kind of happy for it. Like, see what you could get away with. treat people with intelligence. Thank you. What the hell was I saying? Yes. So they couldn't show it in the cartoon version. So all we have left is the aftermath of it and the impact it has on Aang. Like, all we can focus on in the cartoon version is just the loss in the past, and now Aang has to deal with it in the present. And we're kind of right there with him because we learn about it at the same time that Aang does. We even learn it a little bit sooner if we've been putting together the little
pieces,
hints that exactly Katara and Sokka have been talking about between them in their scenes. So in Nuvatar, there still is that element, to my knowledge. But we also see everyone in the village die right away in the first few minutes of the first episode. And it just got me thinking about how like characters, events can have such an impact on the plot in the present.
I'm sorry,
because-
the music just picked up on.
What? Oh, is this timed with my grand epic speech? Should I get on my soapbox?
It's very specifically like the opposite of the vibe. You're like, explaining this whole, like the genocide of the Airbenders, and then the music just silence. Do 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 do. I'm sorry.
Most inappropriate music ever.
So funny.
Well, doot-de-doot-de-doot.
It's like it's like, like tropical vibes. I'm sorry.
But with the whole difference between Nuvatar and Old Avatar, I feel personally, and you could totally disagree with this opinion. Art is subjective. We take from it what we take from it, and I'm not here to judge anyone for that. But for
What,
me
Mason?
personally, I feel like something is lost when you get to actually see what happened to all the airbenders of Aang's tribe. Because later on, it takes away from the mystery of, oh my gosh, what happened here? Oh my gosh, how bad was it? And then just that moment of seeing, oh crap, what's his name?
Gyatso. Monk
Gyatso.
Gyatso. Yeah.
Gyatso. Oh, Gyatso. I was actually kind of close. Go me.
Maybe it is Gyatso. I don't know. It's that though. Monk.
No, it's probably Gyatso.
Okay.
It's Gyatso. That sounds right. That feels right.
Okay.
In my heart, that feels right. But then you have that moment of seeing his
I was right.
skeleton just amidst all the dead firebenders, and you're just hit with this moment. Oh, don't worry, you got it.
I did.
Gyatso, thank you, Enthuse.
I have an interesting question when you finish this thought, so make sure to let me ask it. It's about this.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's one of those things where it changes the current story. I feel like not so much for the character in that case, because Aang still goes through the same beats that he went through in the cartoon, right? He still has to discover the air temple. He still has to discover what happened to everybody. So nothing's changed for him. But something has now changed for us. Like I said, there's a little bit less of a mystery. There's a little bit less shock now. Because, well, we know what happened. We saw everyone die. Oh.
So I
and it can change. It can also. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, I was gonna say
final
changing the thing, but go yeah.
Well, this is one of the interesting points because it's one of those things where in the original it was done to kind of and maybe this wasn't done intentionally, but retroactively looking back on the scene, and I see a lot of people in these different video essays, so this seems to be like a collective thought, and I agree because I felt this way too when I watched the show, was that moment in the Air Temple portrayed the horrors of the Fire Nation and what they were capable of, like what war could do, the devastation it could lead to. Meanwhile, in Nuvatar, they are showing the same thing. But this is where Rule of Cool backfires a bit. Because I have seen clips of the attack on the air nomads. It's definitely not meant to be a good thing. It definitely portrays the Fire Nation, how much they want to just take out the air tribe, but it also, like, you're watching them do really cool flips and you're watching the new age effects and it's like, oh my gosh, this is better than the M. Night Shyamalan version. I feel like
What is it better than the M. Night
cool.
Shyamalan version? I don't know.
Well, it's a low bar. That bar is against the ground. But I feel like that's kind of the problem, right? Is that it looks cool. We're being robbed of appreciating, for lack of a better word, the horror of the scene and the horror of the genocide, right?
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one who feels that way.
It feels like they weren't visibly stronger because of the comet. It's nothing like we see in the finale.
Oh, that's interesting. So as someone who's watched it, Enthuse, I'm very curious your opinion.
Only
I have
the
only
first
experienced it through clips and video essays. So I'm definitely working with a very base knowledge here.
Whole thing sort of stems from this one video that was making a little joke, and it was about how Aang sort of has that moment where he's like, I don't want to have to kill Fire Lord Ozai, right? I have been raised as being peaceful, pacifist sort of thing, like not killing people, and that's like his whole thing, right? That is a very big point. And then he literally has this whole crisis where he's talking to the other avatars before him, and they're like, nope, you gotta kill him. You got, like, it's what you gotta do. Sometimes that's what it is. And he has to have this coming into his own where he finds another solution. And someone made sort of just a funny joke about, like, I think he was pretending to be Sokka to Aang, after Aang's like, I don't want to have to kill Fire Lord Ozai. Like, Monkey Yatsu told me all the time to be, like, peaceful and not kill and all this sort of stuff. And Sokka's just like, why do you think all those firebenders were dead at Monkey Yatsu's feet? Like, what do you think happened? Like, yeah, pacifist Monkey Yatsu, kind of did a lot of stuff. And what I think is so interesting,
Monkey Yatsu was trying to survive. His back was literally against
what
the wall.
Is what is so interesting about that is the fact that you, as a person watching the show, just like Aang, can overlook that fact, right? When you see this, like, you're in the moment, you're focusing specifically on Monkey Yatsu being passed away, and Aang's anguish, and this sort of thing. When that is the first time you hear about this, you realize this whole thing, right? You sort of can have this sort of reminiscent with Aang, where it's like, no, that was what he's taught, no matter what, no matter what, because that's his whole thing, right? No matter what, he doesn't want to have to kill this incredibly evil, horrible king, right? This literally person that literally everybody else in his entire life is saying kill him, right? Maybe Monkey Yatsu would have also said kill him if, he was in the same boat. Who knows? But just like Aang, you can look over the fact that even Monkey Yatsu in the end had to kill, right? So that Aang in the end can be steadfast.
Well, and I think that's also because in just a few short scenes, like, it's not even multiple scenes, it's literally just one. You see the camera pan across this room, you see all the firebenders he took out, and then you just see him there. So they're not saying anything, they're not telling you anything explicitly. It is all through visual storytelling. But it tells you something. It tells you this guy, he's in a room. He's in a room by himself. He's the only airbender in that room, just surrounded by dead firebenders.
Yeah.
That tells you so much information about what happened before he died.
But what's so interesting is that as someone watching, you can ignore that, right? Because the scene is not focusing on that. The scene is focusing on Aang seeing his basically father
figure,
dead, right? After thinking he was going to come back to him being alive, right? This whole time he was prepared to run into his arms. And Enthuse mentions
that's what they've been setting up, and that's what the goal of the scene is.
Show Monkey Yatsu fighting back to protect literal school children. And I don't think that that's the problem. And I don't think that literally anybody is ever saying that Monkey Yatsu is wrong for killing firebenders who were literally mass murdering his entire culture, right? Like, there's a whole... I don't think anybody thinks he's wrong or would ever think that he was wrong. But I think the point is that Aang doesn't have that frame of reference to then be like, yeah, so it's chill to kill Ozai, right? Like, so then we're chill. He wouldn't have that moral quandary, right? Because I feel like if he was there and ran away after seeing, like, Monkey Yatsu, kill everybody, he would have been like, yeah, no, Ozai gotta die, Ozai gotta die, or whatever. like he wouldn't have this moral quandary. And he obviously doesn't know that in the live action because he didn't see the genocide. But us as the audience have a much more difficult time sort of putting ourselves in Aang's shoes, I guess, when he will have this moral quandary of everybody's telling me to kill Ozai, but, like, I want to honor Monkey Yatsu, basically, and my culture by showing mercy. And
I was about to say what Pastry Puff is saying. Like, if he kills that, then his culture is gone for good, because his culture was one of pacifism.
Exactly.
That is a really cool interpretation. I honestly really like that.
And so I think that it's just important, like it gives a very different tone, like watching of you, the person watching, to not be able to have overlooked it like Aang overlooked it, because you literally watched it happen, right? And you both watched the airbenders fighting back, as like I think everyone would say like they should, don't roll over and die, but like it's just a different frame of view. I don't think it's a necessarily you're not having the same moral standing ability as easily as Aang is. And that's what makes it very interesting. Because at least when I
and that
watched
creates
Avatar,
a disconnect between the main character and the audience, because it's
Yeah.
that audience knowledge that the main character does not have.
because I know
Which could
while
either
I
be very
wasn't-
entertaining or very frustrating, depending on who you are.
Exactly. And as I wasn't young when, like, I didn't watch Avatar when it came out, so I was like, I think I was in college or high school when I actually watched the full thing. Like,
Oh wow, you were late.
yeah, I was like, well, if you kind of I basically missed watching it from the beginning, and this was like a time before DVR when it started kind of coming out, and so it was just like, now you're kind of fucked for watching it in order, until I learned about the, like, site that I have been using since to finally watch it in order. But, the point is that I still overlooked, the sort of like, Monk Gyatso did fight back, sort of thing. So I'm there with Aang being like, God damn it, everyone's telling him to kill Ozai. And it's like, I get it, but like, I can see why Aang doesn't do it. And I don't know if I could have that same view if I literally watched the whole thing.
Well, that's one of those things where the story did such a good job setting it up and making you sympathetic towards Aang, that you're not yelling at him, oh my god, just kill the Fire Lord, what's wrong with you? You're actually like, oh wait, no, I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
I get why he's hesitant. I get why he's not wanting to go through with that. Because sometimes you have series that don't set it up properly, and then you just have frustration on the audience's end where they're like, oh my god, character, please make this decision.
I'm sorry, you
it is
hate
the
Tuesdays,
most
Oscar.
obvious decision. Why aren't you making this decision? I'm trying to think of an example.
Aang's
that
kill
I-
count is pretty high. When does Aang kill anyone? Like, explicitly. Because I think there's a very high argument to be that you don't see any on-screen deaths. Maybe did he kill? How did the other
trying
rival
to remember how the battle at the North Pole went? With the whole moon spirit and everything. Oh my god, I need to
Yeah,
rewatch
that's
Avatar. It's been a
true.
while.
You saw him through that Cabbage Man from the stairs. He keeps living. Cabbage Guy is he's living.
I heard Cabbage Guy is in Nuvatar.
The guy who voiced Cabbage Guy plays Cabbage Guy in Nuvatar. That was like a big
Oh my
thing.
god.
Which is kind of wild though, but like nice.
I mean, that's the only reason for a live action to exist.
I also would say that him being in the Avatar state, quote unquote, doesn't count in the sense of that he is literally
like
not in his right mind.
I mean, the few times when he was in the Avatar
early
state,
ones?
exactly. Like, those were moments where he lost control. He was going on a rampage.
Yeah, what do I mean it doesn't count? It doesn't count in the sense of that he couldn't make a choice, right? Like, he couldn't make a decision for himself. He couldn't actually think about it. By the time he finally masters the Avatar state, now it's different. But when he, like, literally just kind of turns into it because it's just, like, he's literally in fight or flight, like, what are you gonna do?
That's like the Yuji possessed by Sukuna mode. It was like, you wake up and it's like, oh fuck, what have I done?
Yeah, really though. That's the vibe of that. And that's what I
Poor
felt
Aang.
happened with the whole thing as well. I can see what we're saying about him throwing them off the temple.
I could see that too. I also,
See, and
this
the-
would
and- but this
require
is-
me to rewatch a scene and
this is
see
also
what's going
interesting,
on.
though.
But I think you could also argue if they are benders, they could save themselves.
Yeah, I will say, with the firebenders, I don't know how common it is specifically to have enough fire to, like, jetpack.
I mean,
but
we
and
did see
sandbenders.
Azula jetpack.
I know, but she's
So
particularly
not
powerful.
impossible.
But the point that I think, honestly, the only person that I'm pretty sure we fully killed was Sparky Boom Man, and that was Sokka. But the point that's interesting about all of these, about how he kills them, is that he kills them in sort of a negligent way because he's a child, right? Because imagine if he threw an airbender off a cliff, who cares, right? They can survive. They can do it, right? That's who he fought most of, like, if they did any sparring at all, that's who would have fought. You can literally fall off a cliff and be okay. That's what it was. And then stranding them in the desert, if I remember correctly, that was after Appa, so there's like a big emotional thing there as well, but also just, you didn't kill them, right? And so that's why I think it's a difference in his mindset between that and specifically, like, I am making a conscious choice to take Ozai's life with, like, my bare hands, right? Like, there's a different level there.
I think it's one of those moments where it's like he's got to stare this man in the face
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
thinking.
kill
Picture
him.
of.
Like,
Yeah.
he's got to make eye contact, and now, like, he knows. Like, he knows he's ending someone's
It's like
life.
the difference
like-
between, like,
A hazard of the job.
yeah, a hazard of the job. No, it's a difference between, like, it's sort of like the trolley problem, right? Standing there and letting people die versus, like, literally choking somebody out on the rails of the trolley trail. Like, this, you know, there is a difference there.
That is not how the trolley
Well, yeah,
problem works.
100%.
But
Buff. Yeah, there's
close
a lot
enough.
there's a lot of I mean, it is wartime, so, you know, they're probably got a little bit of a thing. Yeah, war casualties
Definitely
of war.
lawless.
But I think it's definitely
I
interesting
love
to
this
think
tangent we derailed into. This is
about.
great.
There always is. There's always a tangent. But I think it is
I mean,
important to
I
see.
brought up Nuvatar. I set it up for myself.
Yeah, it's really all your fault, Mars.
Yep.
How could you
But this
think
is what
otherwise?
got me thinking about presences in the first place, because
well, let's go
Monkey
back into
Yatso,
But we also have
the
another really
attack on
interesting
the Airbenders.
Avatar sort of character presence for a lot of it in the original, and that's Firelord Ozai himself.
Ah, yes. A villain presence. Ooh.
That we literally never see his face until the very fucking end.
Yes.
He's a
God,
shadow man for
that
legs.
was so well done. Now this one was very purposeful. They wanted to build up the Fire Lord, but we feel his presence through multiple branches throughout the show. We see the devastation he's left on the different tribes, the different benders. And we see this through Aang and company traveling to all these places and just witnessing what's happened to the people there. How do the people respond to these travesties? Are they completely disheartened, like they were at the South Pole? Or are they like Jet and trying extremist methods of
God,
fighting
Jet.
back? Yeah, Jet.
Oof.
What a character.
Really, though, damn.
But through those characters, we feel the Fire Lord's presence because we know his actions had an effect on the people of this nation. We also see directly through Aang what effect this war has had on him as well. That one's not so much Ozai because that's a longer legacy, but we do still feel it. And the biggest character that we feel is that's honestly one of my favorite jokes.
It's so good. It's such a good joke.
It's so great. I love how meta that episode is. Duh. Chef's kiss. Meta before meta. It was phenomenal. But the biggest character that we feel Ozai's presence through is Zuko. Because everything he does is a result of who his father is, how his father treated his children, and the expectations from his father. And we feel it all throughout the show. We see it all throughout the show. So by the time we fully see the Fire Lord, like we see him, no shadows, no legs, it's just him, we know what this guy is all about.
I found that so funny every time I think about it. It's just very funny to me.
Yeah, and there's from what I understand, Ozai is shown very early and not hidden at all. I believe they're trying to build a more sympathetic backstory for him. So, okay, I cannot confirm this, and Enthuse, please correct me if I'm wrong, but in the video essays I saw, they seemed to make Ozai reluctant to burn Zuko. Like, he seemed hesitant, like it was actually a hard decision and it pained him to do it. And he did not banish Zuko in the same scene. He banished him after, like it was something he had to think about first.
I don't like this.
So, I can't say for certain, but for me, I know if I wanted to make a character like have
This
a
is
little
what I'm
depth
saying.
to them,
Mr. Puff.
I would definitely make them hesitant about their actions, make them uncertain, make them regretful. Like, oh, look at what Hotsun's doing.
But see, okay, there's a difference between having more depth to a character and needing to be sympathetic. I think that you can have a significant amount of depth to a character. I think we have a guy in our story that will eventually exist that, kind of gives original Ozai vibes, but he has more depth than Ozai, I would say, at least how I think about him. And,
oh, absolutely.
So he's not like this big looming bad, in the distance as much, but he is like, he's not redeemable, and that's the fucking the point is that he's not you can still, he's got depth, but he's still not sympathetic in any way.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. I did not mean to start a flame war or a caps lock war. Fire, yeah.
I mean, yes,
but
that's
point.
What
he's supposed to be enthused. He's supposed to be unsympathetic. We're not supposed to root for him in any way.
You're not supposed to feel bad for him in any way. He's specifically supposed to be a massive asshole.
Because he committed all these atrocities. He was horrible to Zuko and Azula.
Still not redeemable, but can be sympathized with. See, and there's different levels.
She can be sympathized with because you see what brought her to her point.
And I feel
you know that she went through something similar that Zuko did.
I feel like her sympathy.
You feel like, oh, she could have her Zuko redemption if she just had a chance, but like she never goes that route.
Well, the Zuko Azula thing is very much the we're not so different, you and I sort of thing.
Oh,
and then,
very much the cut from the same cloth. Absolutely.
I feel like Azula's whole thing and Zuko's whole thing gets taken back multiple notches by the fact that Ozai has any shred of humanity inside of him. Like, I feel like suddenly it's like, wait, but he could be a good dad. Like,
It's funny how you can lose something by trying to add more, huh?
Because you can add more in a good way and you can add more in a bad way. But to be like, this is something that happens a lot, and I've seen a lot of sort of things about this, is that we're in an age of the villain needs to be sympathetic. And I think that that's a false nomer for the fact that we want villains to have depth. Because there's the original, like, classic Disney villain where they're evil just to be evil, and they're having a good time being evil, and they're being fun, and whatever. But they don't have any real depth to them, right? In the originals, right? We're not talking about like the Maleficent movie or the Cruella movie. We're talking about specifically in their original movie where they are solely the villain, totally the villain. They are just evil, the villain.
It is black and white. You're not supposed to like them.
And when you like that can feel shallow, right? If something you want is a deeper story, a more adult story, I guess, in a way, right? Like something to think about. But you can have villains that are still villainous and unsympathetic, but deeper than, say, Cruella de Vil, and literally, I just want to make a coat out of puppies because spots, yay. Like there could be more to it than that. That's her motivation!
I know that's her motivation, but I feel like that's also one of those captions from describe the movie badly in 5 words or less.
Spots, yay.
Spots, yay. Woman decides spots, yay.
Yeah.
No. I totally agree with you there
Yes,
because
pastry pup. Yeah, and
there
and
was
Edgeworth is the Zuko. Yeah, 100%.
there was a cultural shift.
And
There
Von
was
Karma
absolutely.
is the Ozai, and Von Karma has a lot of depth, but no
There we
sympathy
go.
and zero redemption.
Brought it full circle.
Done.
But there was absolutely a cultural shift in how we portray our villains. We went from purely black and white, good versus evil. Here's the villain, they love being bad and they are bad. And I think this cultural shift came about because you know, not everything is like that in real life. People do have depth to them. People have layers. And absolutely horrible people do have layers to them. And I think there was this desire to portray that, but also this desire to show, with the right people at the right moment, maybe they could turn a new leaf. Maybe they could be redeemed. And that's fascinating to watch too, because it's interesting to see what pushes someone to both ends of extremes, what pushes someone to do bad things and be evil, and then what pushes them to say no more, I'm done with this, because something big usually pushes them to cross that line. What's going to be big enough to push them back? And story wise, that's a very fascinating element to play with. That's actually something that we're playing with in Outcast with one of our characters. You guys have sort of met him, but not fully yet. But rest assured, he will come up soon.
I think
But
2 more entries.
it 2 more entries. Oh, entries, not pages. Okay, yes.
Entries. Yeah, end of entry 7. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. End of entry 7, but it's gonna take us like 2 months to get
Yeah,
there.
entry 7 is very long.
Entry 7 is incredibly wrong. I couldn't stop writing, you guys.
Entry 7 is like
That was the
entry 2,
problem.
very long. I think it's longer than entry 2, or it's gonna be.
I think it is. It's town. We gotta show off everything. It's
Make
port.
Ori draw port.
I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll forgive you one day.
We had to have a port town.
I
It's
know.
pirates.
We'll have to have multiple port towns. That doesn't mean I have to enjoy it, okay?
I know. Guys, this is why I let Ori pick whatever she wanted to draw. This is how we ended up with animal-human hybrids, because I knew buildings are going to be involved at least once. So I gotta make sure she doesn't want to kill me.
I
give her
basically
something
gave.
she likes.
I said this is obviously far in the future, but I told Mars that Mars can pick whatever the next thing will be, as long as like certain basic criteria are met. Just like they gotta be not just boring humans all the time, okay?
This is the problem, though. I am on 2 ends of the spectrum where I'm like, yes, Frieren, give me the fantasy vibes, and then the opposite end of the spectrum where I was like, ooh, Robi Hachi, lots of space stuff, so cool. Like, these things could not be more opposite if we tried.
I don't know. Is not Star Wars just space fantasy? They did it.
I mean, it is space fantasy, but isn't that?
Yeah.
Science fantasy is sci-fi.
No. Science fiction is sci-fi. Space fantasy is what Star Wars is, because Star Wars has
science
wizards.
fantasy. Isn't that where the extra Y comes from?
No, sci-fi is science fiction because it's SCIFI. That's sci-fi. So
God
Star
damn it.
Wars, Star Trek is sci-fi. Star Wars is science.
I blame the Sci-Fi Channel
space
for
fantasy. There's no
making
science
me
involved at all.
constantly spell science fiction wrong.
Yeah.
Because they spelled it with
Star
2 Ys,
Wars
and that will
is-
forever be my Mandela
Star
effect.
Wars is space fantasy because Jedi are space wizards. The Force is magic. Like, it's just like they wear freaking wizard robes, man. Like, it's and the technology.
The lightsabers are the wands.
Yeah, the technology is never really explained like they explain it in science fiction, which is what Star Trek is, right? Star Trek has like so much into the warp drive and the the teleporter and all this sort of stuff and the food things, and there's a lot of science involved, pseudoscience obviously, but like a lot of science involved, versus how many times do they really talk about science in Star Wars?
Midichlorians.
That's a retcon. That's a prequel makeup, so it wasn't originally. Literally. Well, no. Enthuse, Star Wars is in the far, far past. Star Wars is specifically set a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yes. A long, long time ago. But what the hell was I talking about before this?
Our character who is getting
redeeming characters and the culture shift. Yes. Okay, I found it. I found the track again. We're back on track, you guys.
Sorry.
Nah, no worries. I'm always happy to talk.
Oh,
Star
I know.
Wars.
I say sorry like it's not the thing we do.
How dare you, Ori? We only do this every Tuesday. Except last week.
We talked about we rambled in last week.
Oh, I bet. That must have been so fun.
It was yeah, I mean, you can watch it, but it's really just rambling. And me getting to tell stories again that you already knew. That's the secret, guys. I bring new people onto stream so Ori can retell all the stories again.
I mean, it fills up 3 hours. What's not to love?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Avrit pastry puff. Let's see if I can spell it correctly. Avrit. There you go.
2 T's, 1 R.
Okay, so Enthuse, I'll shift gears to answer your questions. Misty Faye absolutely has a presence on the Ace Attorney series. I personally feel it comes more so through the cases themselves and the ramifications that has. Like, don't get me wrong, Maya is a very fun character. Absolutely love her. But at least in the first 2 games, we don't know much about Misty Faye personality-wise, so we can't really say, oh, Maya is Misty Faye's daughter. Like, she's her mother's daughter. She totally acts like her. So that doesn't really come through there. But I feel like it does come through very strongly on the different cases. Like, the case that put spirit summoning in a bad light and tarnish the Khura'in legacy. I think you also feel... Okay, so I don't feel it with Maya, but I do feel it with Mia, because she herself is now a lawyer. Like, she's not channeling, she's not using the technique like her mother before her.
She's not
She
trying to
changed
be the
career
master.
path. Exactly. Like, she changed career paths and decided to go into being a lawyer. You know, the exact place where her mom's reputation was forever ruined. I feel like that impact comes through very strongly there.
What I think is
Do we
interesting.
feel it more by the end of the last case, though? I feel like we do see, you know, the kindness and care for Pearl comes through. Like, both Maya and Misty definitely have that, although we don't know why at first until we discover Elise Donim's pseudonym
True
and
identity.
put the pieces together. The true identity, exactly. Yes, I'm alive.
Yes. What
That
I think is
better is
interesting.
such a strong word, but I am here.
Well, not a lawyer specifically, but the kind of lawyer that Edgeworth is, yes. But that's what I think is interesting. I wouldn't say that I care about Misty at all, in a sense, in her specific presence. I think that the DL6 case is what matters, right? And I think it obviously does matter that, like, Misty is the mother of Maya and Mia, like, because otherwise it wouldn't have affected Mia in that way. But I think that it's the case that matters, Right. The whole thing surrounding the case that has a presence. And that's what Mars is talking about with like the turnabouts or where you feel it. Because you're not feeling Misty's presence as much as you are feeling specifically the butterfly ramifications of the case itself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like
Pastry Puff.
what
Yeah,
that meant
specifically
for the courts,
prosecutor.
what that meant for everything going forward. A lot of the consequences do stem from that.
Yes,
Uh,
fires on stream.
So I would say she has a very strong presence, especially on the plot itself. Oh, thanks, Dichotomy. It's definitely better. You know, it's not fun to have the flu and the strep throat at the exact same time, but you know, you drink a lot of tea and you make do.
Keep on keeping on.
I actually was able to go in and see my kiddos today. I miss them so much.
Oh, nice. Knock on wood, guys.
Well, quick aside, I walk in, I tell my supervisor what I was recovering from, and she says to me, "Oh, just a head up, there's a case of COVID going around one of the classrooms. One of your students has been coughing recently, so just be aware." I was like, my immune system already took a punch to the face. I don't know how much more it can
Let
take.
me go home right now.
Oh, nope. We tough it out and we eat zinc supplements. That is what we do.
God. Yeah, that's very true. Morgan is. See, that's what's interesting. You feel Morgan's presence a lot more in Bridge to the Turnabout than I feel you even feel Misty's who is there, right?
Well, you feel Morgan's a lot because she is directly responsible for everything that happens in that turnabout.
But I'm saying I feel like Misty's presence throughout the entire game is more just it gives a connection to Mia and Maya, but she doesn't really do a lot.
She dies.
Yeah, but I feel like Mia did more before she died, but I don't know.
I mean, Mia had the whole chance to be our tutorial, be our guide.
Because I feel like Misty's personality could have been a vast majority of things, as long as she kept the "I'm Mia and Maya's mother" and I got disgraced.
Interesting,
right?
Because you know, this is not the first time seeing this trope. I don't remember what other properties, but the trope of here's this person who went missing long ago and now they've returned under a pseudonym, and we discovered later that this was actually somebody we knew all along. That is a very classic trope. Now, typically with that kind of trope, at least what I see most of the time, is they draw more parallels between the
I did not
pseudonym persona and the person we're looking for persona, or the real person.
Yeah,
that's one option, like where they'll show like, oh hey, you're really alike to this person, and then they put it together like, oh shit, that was this person. Or
yes,
they'll take the familial angle where they'll make them very much like one of their children. So like if, let's say for example, one of the characters who's the daughter of this character, I'm pulling a random example, but doesn't like peas or something, and then this character is like, oh yeah, I don't like peas either. And it's like coincidence upon coincidence keeps stacking.
Yeah.
That's usually how it's eventually revealed. So I gotta be honest, I definitely when we first played it, I didn't know Elise Stoneham was going to be revealed to be Misty Faye. But looking at it in hindsight, I am a little surprised that they didn't try to build more of a connection between her and Maya in terms of, let's look at some similarities. Like, let's show off how these characters are similar and plant in the audience's mind that this person could be related to Maya.
And that you even see it in Franziska, too. And Edward still has one of the tics to this day
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
we needed more of that. Literally,
Oh, she
one
caused a ton
sprite.
of shit.
One sprite of having Elise Donim do like a Maya type thing would have been
That would have
Just
gone
one.
a long way.
just one. It didn't even have to come up multiple times,
You know
but
what
just
she
have
could
one
have
of her
done?
sprites.
She could have done the Maya disappointed sprite.
So that one's
Or the
that
Maya
one's very
thinking
big.
sprite.
I think the smug one. When Maya kind of looks to the side and she's like,
Oh, okay, I
"Nick,"
know the one you're
because
talking
now
about.
it's subtle, right? And I can see Elise doing something like that. I feel like the big disappointment is kind of large, right? For like a whole
Well,
thing.
you could also tone it down while having it be similar.
Yes, the arm gripping. Oh,
'Cause
I love
she is
trying
an
to do that.
adult. She would know
Yeah,
how to
But
not overdo
anything
it.
that specifically harkened back to any of my, like, pick a Maya sprite, and give it to, Elise Donim in a way. Just a little bit. Probably would have made me feel a lot better about that. Because I do find that, like, it's kind of sudden. She doesn't look at all like the picture that we knew about. Like, she doesn't do anything. She acts, and this is the other thing which makes it odd to me. She acts like she doesn't know Maya and Pearl at all. And for a long time, it's one of those things where it's like, I can't tell if she, like, Pearl, I don't think she could have known, right? Like, Pearl wasn't born by the time she left, and Maya was 2. So there's a high chance that she literally can't recognize them. But I feel like throughout the game, I'm kind of like, I can't tell if she did know it was Maya and didn't say anything, or couldn't tell that it was Maya. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. And that I feel like is too ambiguous.
It may be hard to recognize your daughter if you left when she was 2 and now she's 18.
But the problem that I'm saying,
she is wearing Karain style robes.
Maya,
so
I have no issue with if she
that's a bit
didn't
of a
recognize her. I also have no issue if she did. My issue is the fact that the game doesn't let me know which is which. And I still am at a point where I can't really tell if she knew who was who until, like, the very last minute. But even then, she was Dahlia. So it's like, I don't know if she ever knew or could have known.
Well, Pastry is saying that she definitely knew. That's
so
why
then
she
my whole thing is, why didn't she tell Maya? I would love to hear the reasoning behind that, because I don't know. Literally, come on. I feel like that would have solved literally all of your problems very easy if you were just like, hey, like, I understand Godot's thing was very egotistical. Godot had the reason. But why was Misty like, yes, let me protect my daughter in this roundabout way, Mr. Godot. I agree. Me, Miss Powerful Channeling. Like, I don't know. I would love to hear the explanation.
Maybe she panicked.
See? Yeah, there you go. But so why was she hiding herself from Maya? I feel like it's very easy. I feel like it's very easy to say, hey, Maya, I'm your mother. Look at this crest. It's me. You're gonna fucking die. Please stay in your room. Thank you. Okay, I'm glad it's a correct.
Or he is looking for validation here.
No, because I will say that I am a relatively passive enjoyer of most media, right?
Are you?
Yes,
I feel like I might have changed you.
No, I am significantly better than I was, okay? Significantly better than I was. But I'm still not the level that you and Dylan are, okay? So there is a high chance that I literally missed something or am not thinking about it a certain way. And so the validation of that, no, that is a plot hole that she just never tells Maya is like, okay, at least I'm
you're on the right track
in the fact that I'm not completely missing something entirely. Whoops. Hit my mic.
I definitely can't lie. During that whole case, I enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed it. I thought the twists were very cool. The emotional catharsis at the end was great. The logical
think
part of me was like, why does no one talk
my
to each other?
My favorite part of that entire case, and this we'll talk about this more when we do the tier list, and that'll hopefully be next week.
Oh,
if
yes.
we manage Smash Pass finally this week.
It'll
But,
happen. I'm
and
better.
it's not really a tier list; it's a rating. But you know, Turnabout tier list sounds better than Turnabout rating because alliteration. But
I like Turnabout tier lists.
that's what I'm saying. But it's not a real tier list in the sense of we're not
Turnabout
doing
top
it.
10.
It's still not the same. But point that I'm trying to make is that my favorite part of Turnabout, Bridge to the Turnabout, is the reveal that Godot is the killer. Right? Like that to me
That was the
is
fun
the
reveal.
best. We set that up like it's here, like it's there. Like it was enough where I could like deduce it right when we're getting where it's like, who else could it be? Shit, wait, Godot. They set it up. Like I love that part about Ace Attorney, and probably the ones that I dislike the most are ones where you can't do that. One day dichotomy.
Well,
one
because if
day.
it's not set up, then it's not a good mystery.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Like,
And so
this is something I stand by. So, to pull a super quick example, I just finished watching
that's so
Migi and
cute.
Dolly about 2 weeks ago, and I was telling Ori
We'll get
all
there.
about it.
I promise.
One day. But I was telling Ori all about the show. Now, I also watch another show called The Apothecary Diaries. It's also very good. I'm having fun with it. I definitely like it. But in terms of which show
not the
is a
hot
better
guy.
mystery, I gotta go with Migi and Dolly. Because what Migi and Dolly does is it lays out the pieces for you. And what that allows is for the audience to put the mystery together themselves. Now, Apothecary Diaries, again, still very good show, still very interesting, but that's
vibe.
not what they do. Very different vibe. It's the BBC Sherlock vibe
I'm glad you
because
like it.
they have a very smart main character that has all the answers. She sees the clues. We have no idea what any of it means, but because she has a special knowledge, being a apothecary, being a doctor, she knows what all of this means and how it all comes together. So we're essentially just waiting for the big reveal. We're along for the ride. Whereas with Migi and Dolly, we can help solve the mystery. It's the difference between being told a mystery and solving a mystery, essentially.
Yeah.
That's the
why
big
Ace
thing, and
Attorney
I
is
feel like
fun.
that's what you have with Ace Attorney,
Yes,
because you like to put
100%.
the pieces together. You like figuring
like
it
to
out
have the
along
chance.
the way.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, the reveals are great and fun, but you also
And they're
want the
important.
chance to try yourself, because essentially, that's the gameplay. You have to figure it out yourself and put it together.
All of my favorite moments in Ace Attorney that I can think of are ones where you have that, like, light switch moment. Whether it was with chat saying something, or, like, Godot, right? Where you have that one click, this is what, like, that is pinnacle. Maybe you didn't get the whole thing, right? But, like, for me, it's the Turnabout Samurai and the fence, right? It's, Turnabout
That was
Goodbyes.
definitely your moment to shine.
Well, that one was great. Turnabout Goodbyes and Von Karma's Vacation, right? The bullets inside him, right? Like that. You know, like I said, Bridge to the Turnabout, that fuck, it had to be Godot, right? And this is why. All this sort of stuff. It's all these like light switch moments where you're putting the pieces together and you're not right off the bat because you don't have all the information in the first investigation. That's the point. But you get to that point in game where it is like, shit, that is the thing, right? That is the thing. And that's why I think I didn't like Rise from the Ashes, because you have that flip moment where it's like Gant shelves Neil Marshall onto the spear, and then they go round about it again. And it's like, wait, I had the light switch moment, and that is the real thing, but I have to come back around to it again. That's a lot. So that's what's great about it. Fucking
I knew I
face
should
swap,
have making that left turn at
Bam.
Albuquerque.
right? Face swap. That was like it's a light switch moment, and that's what's beautiful about it. Yeah, Paradise Killer's ending was lame.
Oh.
It's always correct. Well, not that you were necessarily always correct, but that, like,
I
it
don't know
didn't
if
matter
we're
who you
always
won.
correct.
You weren't always correct. We actually got it right, except we killed one innocent person, but we got all of the murder, like, we got actually all the non-innocent people. But the
Nice.
problem is that you're not... I was not figuring it out, right? There's so much information
We
there.
were
And this is just the kind of person that I am. No. The way the
We
game
were
is set up
definitely guessing.
is that you literally physically collect information by basically going through the motions. And there's so much going on with sort of the lore of the world in addition to the mystery that I just could not keep it straight. And that's, you know, that's a me thing, and we definitely didn't give it the length of time.
It just
but
wasn't gonna happen at 10 p.m. at night.
But I was also never going to be invested in it enough to, like, get into it as, like, it really needed somebody to do. And so, but when you get to the trial is basically like, here is the charge. Look at your computer to physically see, do you have a lot of evidence? It specifically explains to you why this is good evidence, right? I didn't have to know anything. I had to literally collect the physical pieces around the world and get enough of them to then go to court and be like, yep, look, physical evidence. I literally had no need to know anything. And that's what makes it kind of wild.
That was one hell of an experience. But yeah, and that's why Ace Attorney
that's
is
exactly
so good,
it,
because
Pastry
it
Puff.
just lays everything out and it gives you just enough to work with. Like, I gotta be
That's
honest,
also true,
I'm
Pastry
trying
Puff.
to think
It was a very highly rated
if
game.
in Phoenix, right? Are there red herrings? I don't think we really
Yes.
had too many.
No. Well, full red herrings?
Full red herrings. Where we were convinced it was one thing, but then we were like, oh shit, it's this other thing. That's the answer.
I will say Farewell My Turnabout started with you not thinking it was Matt on guard 100%. We had obviously this kind of killer vibe.
Yeah, nope.
No, but like the evidence didn't directly point
I
to him
wasn't buying
immediately.
that.
Okay, just because you felt sussy about the character doesn't mean that, like, you know, the whole thing. Yeah, we were really convinced Iris was Dahlia. That is very true. We were really
That is
convinced that
true.
Iris was specifically Dahlia, like just hiding, not like her twin. That was not expected ever. I felt like there was one other one that I'm blanking on. I also feel like the stolen turnabout was a big red herring thing. That was like the whole thing. The whole red herring was the case first, and then that it came back around that it was Luke at me the whole time. That was like a red herring thing. You've seen people get really thrown off by the hole in Mo's ceiling. Yeah, we did that. So, not that we got thrown off, but I'm literally editing Turnabout Big Top right now, and we, like, went to Mo's room and we look at the ceiling, and I'm like, yeah, I think we completely forgot about that in the whole thing.
Did
Very
we even
funny.
mention it? I
Oh
don't
yeah, we
remember
mentioned
a
it,
hole.
and I told a story about how a roofer fell through my ceiling in
Oh,
my house.
that's right.
And then we just kind of move on. We don't think about it ever again, I don't think.
Like, bye hole.
Yeah. But the pants are a big red herring. The pants, Mars. The pants. Literally entire red herring.
Well, that was a red herring for me personally. Apparently, the game did not intend for that to be a red herring.
To say that Ace Attorney has no red herrings is just not possible, because the whole point is to get around the red herrings, right? There's so much evidence towards your client, that's why you are defending them, right? So the whole thing is to specifically get around them. So there is a lot of red herrings, because there's a big portion at the beginning, at least in some of the turnabouts, where it's like, oh, the fuck, I think it is my client who did it, right? Like, how did Maya not be the one to kill Dr. Gray? How did, Will Powers not be the guy in the Steel Samurai suit, right? But you kind of start with the red herring, so it doesn't feel exactly the same. But I feel like also it would get kind of
I
frustrating
can see that.
if they led you down a completely different path forcibly, right? I think, and that's why they don't make it like a full red herring. You start with the red herring.
Okay, here's the red herring. Rise from the ashes. the two different Goodmans, one in the police office, the
Yeah,
other in the
police report,
parking
that's
lot.
good.
We were going down that route where it was like, no, 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 there were two people.
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. And then at the end of that, when we solved it, it was like, nope, there was still only one, and we still don't know who killed him.
Yeah. And
That
I
was a
think,
red herring. That
but
was
I
a red
think-
herring in the middle of the case.
and we also didn't like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's exactly
we did
why
not like that
they
at
don't
all.
do that, is because it feels like
Well, gameplay wise, it feels like
you
a
brings
waste
you back to the
of
beginning.
time.
Yeah, it feels like an incredible waste of time, and that's what's problem. Ooh, all right. There's a red herring in the future, Mars, eventually.
Ooh. Hey, as long as they do it better than Rise from the Ashes.
Again, Rise from the Ashes is a very heavily contested, one, if I remember correctly. That a lot of people are like, do you even have to play it? Should I even play it? Whatever. And
I mean-
I feel like it doesn't deserve that much backlash. I feel like
am
it's too
torn.
long, and I feel like there's too much words, right? Both Jake Marshall and Angel
I do
Star are
love
too
it
wordy.
for Emma and Lana's
like
relationship, though.
90% of it.
Like
Like
that
it
part's
90%
good.
of the time, and I was really into it, and it obviously gave us some really emotional moments. Like, you watch those videos and we're fucking in it,
And they-
we're fucking
And they
dying,
gave us Neekins.
but it just falls short, and that's why it irks me so much, because it is nearly fucking there, right? It's nearly there.
I think my biggest point for me is the middle part where we spent so much time with the case of two Goodmans and it just went absolutely nowhere case-wise. Cool to have the video segment reviewing video footage. That was a neat addition.
That was fun. I enjoyed that actually a lot. Yeah.
But for an entire portion of the case to essentially not mean anything
you
at
say
the end, that kind of drove me crazy.
Enthuse asks, would you
Any
say any characters
are
are
red
red herrings?
herrings?
Well, we did talk about Luke at me.
Yep. We got Luke at me. I feel like we also have
I feel like
the guy from Turnabout Samurai. I forget who he was, but it was like we were like he was the victim the whole time. It's like no, he was the victim and the
Jack
perpetrator.
Hammer. Jack
Hammer. Thank you.
Well, he
right,
was the
my
victim
poor Hammer.
because he was trying to go kill.
Well, yeah, but that's
Steve
a little bit of a
Vasquez.
red herring because we.
Oh,
thought,
no, it is,
he
yeah.
was only the victim. No, he
Yeah.
wasn't.
Exactly. This is not how this works.
I wish Desiree showed up more. I liked her.
She was
cool.
she was an odd one too. Yeah, she definitely had some we were kind of sus about her for a little bit there. And then she ended up not
she
being
did
anything.
straight up confess to making
Yeah, to buying
breaking
shit.
laws.
Breaking the speed limit, but also not liking crime. But then she also was specifically like, I like to buy lots of stuff with my husband's money. And we're like,
I'm like,
kinda being
that's
sussy."
a very specific thing to say.
yeah.
Hey, Yeroval. I
Hello,
am
Roval.
feeling a lot better than I was last week. The rest of chat knows. I don't know if you know. I came down with a case of both flu and strep. That was a very fun doctor visit. But I'm on some medication now.
On the mend.
We're on the mend. So that's nice.
Uh,
Well enough to at least talk for extended periods of time. So that's a plus. Provided with lots of
I
tea.
feel like Desiree's the only character that really got shunted in a turnabout that I can think of off the top of my head.
Oh, it was a wombo combo, all right, Mason. You know what I did all of last week, Mason? You know what I did all of last week, chat? I slept. All
That's
day,
why she couldn't
every
come
day.
to stream.
I just fucking slept. I did get to watch an anime on the side. It was called The Royal Tutor, and it
Which
had
I have
Orin
to
High
watch
School
now.
host.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Ori. Holy
That's
shit.
the one. That's
Okay.
what's next.
So-
yeah.
The Orin High School Host Club vibes definitely present through episodes 1 through 5. By the time it reaches about episode, I would say by episode 9, 10, it switches.
Oh gosh.
and it's really interesting.
All right.
In
Still
a good way.
recommend though?
In a good-
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
very big recommend. Very
Okay.
big recommend.
Because that's on the list. After I do Fairy Tale, that's probably what I'm gonna do next.
You're gonna ship the king and the tutor.
Well, Penny barely had any relevance in the sense of the whole thing. She did have important with being with the trade and stuff, so I feel like she still did more than Desiree somehow.
Yeah, well, because she gave us stuff that helped us progress forward.
And she
Whereas
she gave us
Desiree
information
was
too.
mostly dialogue.
I don't think Desiree gave us any information. The one thing that I can recall her doing is she like came in, busted in with the freaking vase from Luke Atmey's like office or something. Penny at least helped us with Cody. Penny, there's an earlier thing that she did
Penny
as well.
taped over the vent.
She's
that
the one who
we
talked
didn't
about. She's the one who helped
remove.
us figure out about Hammer's past incident. It started with her, right? And then she's like, "You gotta talk to Old Bag."
Lisa.
Yeah, Lisa Basil. Lisa Basil in Recipe for Turnabout. Yes, she is a nothing character.
Oh.
Yeah, she is a completely nothing character. That is correct. Yep. She's worse than Desiree.
Why don't I remember this character?
She was the Robo Blue lady.
Oh,
I am
that
Lisa
one!
Basil. Yes, Glenn Elg totally worked here, and he was a bitch that gambled all his money away like a dumb human. Yeah, there you go,
That
Mr.
idiot.
Exactly. Yes, she's
So,
the most nothing character. I don't think
I
anybody
forgot
is more
about
nothing than
her.
There you go.
And I think I forgot about her because, like, even though she's got the anagram name, not anagram,
Yeah, the
palindrome?
palindrome, that's what it is.
Palindrome. Thank you. I figured it out.
You got there.
Even though she's got the palindrome name and that, like, plays into the robotics computers thing, her name does not make me think of computers. That's the problem. Every other character, I'm like, okay, I think of you and I can associate you with your occupation, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like this is where the puns really work to their advantage, because, like, I don't know, it just clicks. Whereas Lisa Basil, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't equal computers to me. That doesn't equul robotics. Nope. That does not compute.
I think my problem with her is that, yeah, and I probably wouldn't have listed her if I was asked to list all the characters I knew. Just because she is literally the definition of a nothing character. I don't remember her even adding anything when we talked to her. I think we literally could have gone to the offices, investigated,
I think
and
she
left.
told us about his gambling problem.
Yeah,
and
but we
that
see
might have
that
been
in
it.
the evidence, and so I feel
Yeah.
like she was literally, there was nothing needed from her, which makes her worse than Desiree, and worse than obviously Penny Nichols.
What was her psyche lock? Was it that he was a gambler, or was
I think
it something
literally
else?
was that she was a gambler. Yeah, we did forget that because Jesus Christ, it was nothing. It was a nothing burger. He was in
I
debt
don't
or
remember
something.
that at all.
Told us about MC Bomber. Okay, yeah, that it was a virus. I know what we're saying now.
Oh, right.
Again,
Yeah,
literally probably could have figured that out some other way. Like literally.
I mean,
change
it was
her-
literally written on the
take her
newspaper, the
character-
napkin.
Well, it was the fact that what it was a virus that could be sold for a lot of money. That's what she gave us. Now, literally change that into we examine Glenn Elg's computer instead of a psyche lock. Have a fun little like puzzle, like we had a bunch of Entangled Tower. Get that information. You're done. Didn't need her at all. Could have saved more memory on the Game
It
Boy.
opens up to a screen where you have to pop the disk drive,
Yeah,
press
whatever
the
it is.
button
Yeah.
with the DS touch screen.
But then you have to keep finding the the pop-up windows and exiting them. No, but she literally could have been like a little fun puzzle on Glenn Elg's computer and save memory in that Game Boy Advance cartridge to allow Gumshoe to have a better young design.
He just has a coat change. That's
Yep.
it. Poor boy.
I'm very happy that we are past the necessity of really, really dying about size of games.
Yeah,
of
that's
stuff.
a plus.
It's one of those things where it's like, it's a double-edged sword in the fact of that, like, there's a lot of fun stuff that came out of, like, workarounds, right? Oh, I just watched something all about, like, animation, like, workarounds, and how, like, a lot of principles of animation came from literally having to budget, you know, to make animation a certain way and everything. Sort of how the practical effects in The Hobbit and everything and Lord of the Rings work. It's just like, sometimes it's sad that we have the easy way with computer generated stuff.
Ain't that the truth? That's hilarious. I did not know bikini was short because of memory restriction.
Yes, oh, I remember you guys saying that in the stream.
But that's also really funny because they give her all those milk crates to stand on,
Yeah.
putting her at regular height. I guess milk crates don't take up memory.
The reason that I don't think it would, Pastry Puff, is because she has to have all of those lines, right? In order to fit, like, the thing, she has to have 3 questions we have to ask her, she has to have the whole Psyche Lock dialogue, she has to have her whole sprites and various movements, which she does have multiple of, it's not just 1 or 2. She has, like, a variety. She also has to have, like, a profile image and, like, anything that we say when we present evidence to her, and her default evidence, default profile thing. Like, there is still a lot. Alright. Dialogue's line takes up very little storage. It didn't even have to be a minigame, I feel like. I feel like it literally could have been, like, Psyche Lock equivalent, sort of, like, dialogue on a computer screen, right? Like, present the, you know, like, riddle me this, you know, human. Like, what, like, literally. Could have been
Okay,
easy.
but that raises the question, how does Phoenix and non-programmers solve that?
See, because it wasn't like a program, it's like literally like Glenn Elg's funny passcode is being like riddles or some shit. I don't, like, and it's just dialogue, you know? I don't know.
Maybe we could have also had the password written on something and we find that.
Find the password, figure out the password, right, from other stuff around.
Maybe he, like, circled a 3 on his calendar and then circled the letter A in April.
There you go. Easy. Done.
There we
you go. That's the puzzle. Takes up less storage than frickin' Lisa Basil's whole thing.
There we go. Problem solved. We did it, guys. We fixed Ace Attorney.
It had so many problems before, but with this one quick fix, we have solved it.
Haha. And look at that. This whole time we've been talking about character presences, but these characters were in front of our faces the entire time.
I'm trying to think of if I have any character presence. Oh, this could be an interesting thing, Mars.
Sure.
Do you think that even if the character is never going to be shown, like that's the plan, the character will never have a visual presence in any sort of way, do you think that it is beneficial to possibly you as the writer to have a design of that character anyway? There you go, exactly this.
Could be helpful in a sense, and I'm saying this as someone who doesn't dabble in the art side aside from what I color for the comic. It typically, at least for me personally, if I were to, let's say, write a story with that idea in mind, I would have more of, okay, this character is an idea and less of a fully fleshed out character with like a complete design and everything. Because unless there's some element of the design that would play a role somehow, it wouldn't really be that important to me, because what's going to like pass into the present day are their actions, their choices, their personality, what overall effect did they leave on the world around them. Now, if we want to go the route of design, I feel like most generally this ties into like, oh, they left some precious like amulet or an article of clothing that's now been passed into the future. I think I'm trying to remember. I only saw this movie once in theaters, so please forgive me if I get this wrong. But I know in one of the newer Star Wars movies that Rey finds a lightsaber, and I can't remember if
Yeah.
it's Luke or
I think it
Leia's.
is. Oh God, yeah,
Is
you're
it
right.
Luke's or Leia's?
Oh, no. I think it's Leia's, and that was what was weird because it was like, when did Leia have a lightsaber? I think that's what it was.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go and say it's Leia because at least at that point in the series, we hadn't seen Leia. Now we definitely have her old, I'll call it design, her old look. We have not seen her in the present day. So technically, if you want to
I'm pretty
pull
sure yes
pull
in the
needles,
sequels, Mason, and that's why it's weird.
yeah,
I'm
that
gonna look it up.
that was a whole bunch of hoopty-loopty.
That was a lot of criticism people had.
Theoretically, if they never wanted to show Leia again, if they wanted to say she passed away before this portion of the timeline,
Leia's lightsaber
or
was
she's
created
just
for the
off doing her own
2019
thing.
film Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, thank you much, Shori. But yeah, if we were going to say, like, let's say we do see
Fucking
Leia in later
last-
movies, but let's say we never see her. Would it be important to have a full design? Personally, in my opinion, I don't think so. Even having the lightsaber, that to me is more of a concept than a design choice, because you're just saying with that, oh, she trained as a Jedi, therefore she has a lightsaber. That's more of an idea than, oh, she carries a lightsaber in her left hand and she wears the Jedi robes and the robes get passed down. It just feels like it would not translate awkwardly, but I know for me personally that's just never the focus, because that's not what impacts the present. That was a very long way of saying that.
I definitely lean towards what Pastry Puff has said, not just because I like designing characters. I find that, for me personally, the design and the personality go very much hand in hand. And thus, obviously because good design should showcase the character's personality, but I also will say that when designing characters, and I do it a lot when I make, like, AU designs for our characters, or I put, like, our characters in different clothing, right, for just fun sketches and doodles and stuff, I feel like the vibe just, like, oozes in. I'm like, no, this is like such personality stuff. So it's more, it's less the fact that I care about, like, stating that, like, oh yes, Ferrix wears, like a big shirt, that slides off the shoulder, and more just like the vibe of being able to not even necessarily physically look at him, but imagine.
Oh, his shirt's nice and big. He can move around. He can do all the flexing he needs to do because he's very flexible. That's how he gets around. But you could also look at that and say, oh, he's a little bit like lackadaisical, carefree, because he's got the one sleeve off the shoulder. Like, that's a very clothing way of conveying that. A way of conveying that with clothing.
I think that you can very easily, so Pastry Puff's talking about, like, sequel designs and everything, and that if you plan on ever having sequels where they might show up, you might as well design it sort of right away, just so you can keep consistency. And I think that is a very important thing to do, and thus I think that if there is literally any moniker of a chance that your story is going to go longer than, the very, very base of it, I think it's very important to sort of have that nailed down, and not necessarily 100%, but like a good idea, because it is very easy to find media that you can feel has been, like, added on, if that makes any sense, right? And I feel like Ace Attorney did a surprisingly good job in the sense of that you can tell, like, they're like not necessarily telling where they knew that they wouldn't have more games or something like that. Like, I know that like the trilogy was supposed to be the end, but like obviously there's a lot more games, and I do know there's a lot of harkening back. So like they managed it very well. But like in Star Wars, right, or talking about the sequels, they added a lot of things that feels added on. Right. Like specifically this whole thing about Leia having a lightsaber, Leia training with Luke in the Jedi arts, it feels
that
very
was never
stuck on
set
there
up
at
as
all,
a
yeah.
possibility.
And that was very interesting. So when we had Morgan have this whole thing as part of Bridge to the Turnabout, right? It felt originally in my brain like gut reaction because it had been so long since we played Reunion and Turnabout, man. Like a fucking year at least. That it felt like, wow, they just brought her back and this is kind of wild. But when I actually edited Reunion and Turnabout, you see at the end that no, Morgan's like, I'll be back and I'll make it happen. And it's like, oh fuck no, they did set it up. Damn. Like that feels good. Right now it has the shortcoming of like, damn, that was a long time ago. You might have forgotten, but it is there. And that automatically makes it like a whole better thing than if it wasn't.
Oh yeah, because the foreshadowing and setup is there. Which is interesting. I think in the case of Star Wars, specifically with the Leia example, they probably looked at Luke and Leia are siblings, so Leia has the potential to use the Force. We saw her kind of sort of use it in the 5th movie where Luke is calling out to her, but it was never, and this is the biggest problem, it was never implied that that was the direction she was going to go. Yeah. Like, Luke is the one who becomes the Jedi. He's the one who stands with his father at his funeral pyre at the end. He's the one who looks on at all the Force ghosts and then goes to rejoin his friends. Meanwhile, Han and Leia are off in the corner they're just hugging. They're hugging it out.
Allo time.
Allo time, exactly. They're having allo time, exactly. You know, she can go in any direction she wants. You know, lots of options, but clearly the people who wrote the movie intended for her being with Han to be the end of it. That was the direction her story was going. That was always the direction that story was going. Ooh. Was she going to keep playing a politician? Maybe, because we've seen her do that before, so that was always a possibility. But learning how to be a Jedi, that was never set up.
There's an interesting thing that I can bring it back to Avatar, guys. There's a whole, there's a short, and it was like talking about how Toph being a police officer when we got to Korra was kind of weird of a choice for her to be. Because, well, all the other characters sort of end up in a place where it's like, oh yes, this relates to who they are. You know, Aang bringing back the airbenders and being a spiritual guide. You know, Sokka, like, being a liaison for the Water Tribe. You know, Katara being like her Gram and, you know, guiding people and just being
passing on
a nice
the
old
stories.
Woman. Yeah, and this sort of thing. But Toph, specific hater of authority, fucking rebel. I'm a police officer now. Like, definitely a little odd.
I almost wonder if they intended with that choice to be like, oh, I can't stand the authority, so I'm gonna create rules I can live with or something like that. I don't know. It's still
but it was definitely like I can
in my
see
opinion.
how it was like kind of you know,
it's just like oof, yeah, ouch.
Yeah, it's like yeah, I understand why that's a little like and that's sort of
rough,
that like
buddy.
Obviously Avatar didn't think about having a sequel. Right? So they didn't need to set up any aspirations for Toph beyond, what was needed in the show. And thus, when they needed her to exist somehow in the society of Korra, it was like, okay, shit, how do we get her in here?
Oh, so completely off topic, but related to much, much earlier in this stream, I found the paper where I wrote different titles for Outcasts.
Yes, what were the different Outcast title ideas?
So the different options were Hotsun on board, which is just kind of lame.
Yeah.
Bestia Seas or Bestia Mare.
Don't know
We were
how that
leaning
came
way
about.
too hard into the Latin, I feel.
Yeah.
And then the last one was endemic, which I think we nixed because it sounded too much like pandemic.
Yeah, I think we did nix from that.
I definitely remember nixing that one.
I know why I'm pretty sure I probably offered endemic, but I know why I did.
If you know, you know.
Well, if you endemic is basically things that are endemic are specific to that one place. And so being that the island is special and has special things that Hotsun is finding and everything, and other stuff that I won't get into, but like mainly the island, the fact that it is the things that exist in this one place, they are endemic to the island. And that's where that brain came from. It was big science.
So that's how that came about. And then, okay, so I must have been the one that came to you and said this sounded too much like pandemic.
Probably, yeah. And I was probably like, yeah, I can see it. But that's like, that's such a science word that I'm like, I'm pretty sure I was the one who came up with that one. That's such a bio word. I'm like, there's no way. Had to be me.
I think Bestiamari came from like BC's.
Yeah, that one honestly I have zero recollection about.
And then Hotsun on board was going to be like the quirky title back when it was a comedy.
Yeah. So look at that.
The twists and turns we have took.
It's so funny. That's so long ago that all of those are basically scrubbed from my brain.
Scrubbed just like Morgan's revenge dialogue.
Yeah, literally. Come on. Literally a year later. I'm sorry that we all forgot about it.
Morgan's just like, I'll be back. Remember me. I have completely forgot you.
It's not even the last case of that one. It's the second case of the second game, tying into the last case of the next game. It's just like a lot.
I need to share this real quick because I just reminded myself of something. So in my flu-induced haze last week, I decided to rewatch Giguk's Anime in 10 Minutes playlist. Because I just needed a reason to laugh. And I was watching the ReZero one, and the thing I just reminded myself of was right before Subaru leaves everyone to go fight. And Rem's just like, okay, just tell me you won't forget about me. Cuts to the next scene. I have completely forgot everything that has happened within the last 24 hours.
Oh my god.
Those Anime in 10 Minutes are great. They crack me up. I think the one I watched the most was definitely the Darling and the Franxx one. Because that one just cracked me up.
What time? Earlier than I thought.
It's 10:45. On our end.
Earlier than I thought.
No worries, Pastry Puff. I mean, how dare you phase in your brain?
Yeah, ours brain's totally phased in all the time.
Throughout this whole thing. Ooh. I didn't mispronounce Monkiatso's name. What are you saying? That wasn't me.
Yes, how dare Mars forget Monkiatso?
I swear to God, though, when I hear it said fast, it sounds like Monkiatso. 1 hour behind us. You're catching up. I did not get a chance to ask this last week. How has everyone been doing with daylight savings time? You
Mars
know
got
that would have
sick,
been
if
my.
you know why.
Yeah, well, I swear to God, everything felt so much longer. Like the days were dragging.
The days of the week have definitely been wild for me recently, where it's like, wow, it's only X day. Why is it not X other day already? I will
Yeah,
say that's happened to me a lot
exactly.
more recently. But depending on what kind of work day I
At least
have,
you're consistent, pastry
the
puff.
day itself goes. Oh yeah, all my homies also hate
Hate
daylight
it.
savings, Mason.
I want to pick one and stick with it.
Yeah, I
because
honestly don't
my-
care which one very much. Just pick one. I would
My
prefer it to be
stomach
standard, but I wouldn't be
can't
upset.
take it. Like,
Oh no,
my
Enthuse.
stomach cannot take it with all the time changes and when I have to eat.
Oh no, Enthuse.
Uh-oh.
I want it to just be daylight. I would like it to be standard time all the time, just because that makes conversions to other time zones very easy. But honestly, if they had to pick it be daylight savings time all the time, I wouldn't really care. I just need it to never change again. That's one option.
That's the
Option
dream.
2 is you constantly fall back every year, but you never spring forward until you make a 360.
I
Oh,
could get behind that.
what pastry puff? I must know.
I'm so curious.
I just realized that I'm probably gonna have to grab the audio for this.
The audio.
Yeah, this is for like a reel.
Ooh, cool. Turnabout time traveler. Ooh.
Ah, yes. They weren't brought over. Oh no!
Oh, wow.
Oof.
I guess we'll emulate those?
Well, sadly, Spirit of Justice is the one incredibly difficult to emulate. And that's why I'm very happy, because it's a 3DS game, so it's so recent that it's like,
Ah, there's time.
I see, Enthuse. I see, Enthuse. So, yeah, we'll see when we get there. There is the very possible there is the option that I am not ruling out of me literally having my 3DS and like a phone camera or something.
It will look very crunchy and like it's from 2009.
But
honestly,
it's
an
fun,
option.
because I can't easily port it to the computer. What I could do is I could probably use a webcam, which would make it better that way.
That would probably work. But even then, I feel like your phone camera would be better than a webcam.
Yeah, they're probably comparable. The point of the webcam would be that I could beam it to the computer and then have everything normal through the computer instead of having to stream directly from their phone or figure out how to do that. But who knows? That is a bridge that I am willing to not think about until we get there.
We will cross that bridge to the turnabout much later down the line.
Much later than the line.
Much later.
Ori's brain can only handle so much.
We must be kind to Ori's brain. We can't overwhelm it. Poor little brain.
Honestly, I think, is it gonna be longer than that? I think that we're gonna hit another year during Investigations, the first game. How many? Okay, answer me this, chat. How many turnabouts are in the first Investigations game? 4 or 5? Or more?
The
That's
ultimate
also
question.
true, but I think I can probably make it happen by time we get there. I just don't know how that's gonna be. There's 5. All right, how many in the second investigations game? Because I think we're gonna be well into 2025 by the time we're done with both investigations games.
Oh, most definitely.
5. All right, so yeah, yeah, the first Ace Attorney game with no long breaks, because we had the big long break for Dylan to take the bar for Spirit of Justice, took a significantly long time. Let's find out.
Math time.
If technically this is going to be a little off, I think. Stream recordings. Ace Attorney, Stream 1. Properties. Okay, that says it happened in December 28th, but I think that's technically wrong because that wasn't until I downloaded it. Okay, this says September 13th. So, oh, math idiot. I dated them. Yeah, okay, so September 28th. No, September. Yeah, sorry, Justice for All. That's what I meant. The first Ace Attorney stream was September 28th, 2022. Wow.
Oh my.
Oh, that ooh. Wow.
Wow.
And
Ooh.
ended in...
Thanks for aging me, Ori.
And our last one, though, was January 22nd, 2023. But that was honestly short, really, with Rise from the Ashes. We got through the first game very fast. The second game, now we had a break in the middle, so I can't really count that. But the third game...
Okay, so that might be inaccurate.
The third game, we didn't have a break. The third game started August 29th and went through to February 2nd. No, later than that, obviously. We just finished. So March 1st? March 1st? So yeah, so that's August. And that had 5 full cases, though, and we're, like, in our prime at this point, so I'm counting this as much more, accurate. Right, so we have September, October, November, December, January, February. So, like, 6 months, let's say. 6 months for a full game, now that we're fully in our prime. Probably not.
That's crazy.
So it's going to take us about 6 months. So it's going to take us an entire year, roughly, to play both investigations games, which is what I projected. This is what I was predicting. So it's going to take us a year for both investigation games. So that's going to take us to March 2025. And then, by my calculations, Spirit, the second trilogy is going to take us a year and a half. And so, and I feel like that one has more cases, actually. Doesn't that one overall have more cases? I feel like it does.
I feel like the cases also get longer by the time you
Oh,
get to
God.
the third game.
I'm gonna put out for 2 years on the second trilogy. So yeah. Yeah, ooh, yeah, 2 years on the second trilogy. So yeah, that brings us into March of 2027, finishing Spirit of Justice.
Cool boy.
And then we still have 2 more games.
Okay, so not to age you, Ori, but we have the rest of our 20s figured out.
Yeah, I know. And you know what? I'm okay with this.
This is fine. I like having my life.
Yeah,
planned
I
out.
know, Pastry
I feel
Puff,
so
but
organized now.
okay, the other thing, this makes it worse, guys. So remember, I am very, very far behind. AA7 will be out by the time I finish the game. Honestly, I'd
I
be
mean,
fucking down,
Good
man.
timing.
Yes.
It would be hella good timing, I
Would
gotta
be
say.
great. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so I'm gonna ask chat and you, Mars, because I asked Dylan and Doug. I am obviously editing an Ace Attorney stream far in the past from what we are currently streaming. Now, how many backlogged streams, so streams that I have not started editing yet, do you think there are?
Oh man. So right now you're editing the first one. No, you're not editing that. That's currently being uploaded. So
25 from Pastry Puff, alright?
I'm gonna go with 40.
40 from Mars. 38 from Enthuse. Alright, let me do the math here again.
Because it's about 15-30 minutes an upload.
Wow. I believe Enthuse is exactly correct with 38 streams.
Damn.
Yeah.
Congrats, Enthuse. You know
There you
your
go,
Ace
Enthuse.
Attorney.
If it's not 38, it's 39, and you're still really, really close. But I think it's 38. I think that is the math.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Mars, you did get close, though, with 40. 40 is not too far off.
You know,
I
it
can
will
check
eventually
let
be
me
40.
check. It will eventually be 40. Let me check to make
So
sure
I
I'm
can
not
take comfort in that.
snubbing Mars from the amount. What Ace Attorney did we just do? It is 39. Sorry, it is 39 specifically. So right in between Mars and Enthuse. But I think Price is Right means Enthuse would win.
I think by
See,
those rules,
that
yes.
is not correct, Enthuse. But that's what's interesting about it. So the first game actually only has, I think it's 14 streams? 16 streams. The first game has 16 streams. The second game has 19 streams. The third game... Yeah, I'm correct. The third game has 26 streams. And I'm editing the 6th stream of the second game.
They just keep growing.
They just keep growing, I think, from a combination of both us, like, just getting more, you know, into our groove, into our vibe, you know. The more you play, the more we're, like, ready to meme. And also we have a slightly bigger community than we started, so a lot more chat interactions, you know, etc.,
yes.
etc. So that definitely slows it down a bit, but also I'm pretty sure the games are a little longer as well. Yeah, there's chat.
Oh, they definitely are.
There's but there's also, you know, Dylan is much more confident in just being a vibe. We're all more confident in just being a vibe, you know. Definitely some of the earlier games, when you look back at them, it's like, wow, we were not in our stride.
No, the earlier games, I've watched some of them, and I'm like, wow, we are so stiff.
Yep.
We thought we had to read
And
these
yet-
like professionals.
And yet people still really still find it, start at the beginning and enjoy it. So I do find that we get into it fairly quickly. I do find that the very first turn, literally what's called the first turnabout, is not as, you know, goofy. But I do feel like when we get into Turnabout Sisters, Dylan really hams it up with red, white, and we do sort of just vibe off of that. Honestly, my favorite thing... The confidence does start with the pants and the fence, 100%. Turnabout Samurai. Definitely.
Very much, absolutely.
Yeah. And then I think But that's like my favorite thing is getting to put the redirects together, because I just it's just everything I could ever want.
It's just so fun and perfect.
It is just so fun and
do not love
perfect.
it. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I have watched the redirects multiple times.
That she has.
Yes.
It's a
Redirects will be
valid
hours long going
service
forward.
she's done for
I
us.
don't. Okay, I will say that at least so far, because I have finished the redirect for the Lost Turnabout is, you know, completely edited, and it is under 15 minutes. Now, that is roughly the length of the Turnabout Sisters redirect, I'm pretty sure.
Think so?
Don't play it. Thank
I
you.
don't know off the top of my head. Let me see.
Yeah,
if
so
I
the
can
Turnabout
find it.
Sisters redirect is 13 minutes. And then they kind of go up, you know, in multiples a little bit. So Turnabout Sisters is 13, Turnabout Samurai is 30, Turnabout Goodbyes is 46. Rise from the Ashes kind of jumps it up and goes to an hour and 20 minutes, but then it comes back down. So I think that is true, Enthuse. The Lost Turnabout doesn't even have an investigation segment. However, it has more videos than Turnabout Sisters overall, if I'm not mistaken.
That's surprising.
Hold on, maybe I'm thinking of something else. Let me go back. Turnabout, the Lost. God, there's so many playlists being organized is hard. Nicole,
Glad to see you too, Nicole. Hope you've been well. Actually, since you mentioned it, and my eye also saw the time.
It's the
Good night,
same app.
Mason.
Good night,
I
Mason.
think I might follow Mason's lead and go to sleep a little bit early.
Lagasp, guys. Lagasp.
I'm sorry. I'm still in recovery.
It's okay. We can.
And I have to get up at 6:30.
I'll stay on for Nicole. Thankfully, I don't. Thankfully, well, I do have to get up. No, technically, I don't. I don't have work until 8, and I already have a permit, and it's 10 minutes from my house. So nice.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Enjoy that
video
morning.
games, so I'm not forced to leave. So we can let Mars go. That'll be fine.
Yes.
We'll allow her to escape. But yeah, the
Sorry,
Lost
guys.
Turnabout has
I'm gonna get rid of this cold so I sound normal. Hopefully by
Yes.
Friday.
The Lost Turnabout
That's the
has
hope.
exactly the same amount of episodes as the other one, as Turnabout Sisters.
Ooh.
So
I'll have to follow up on all this fascinating
We'll
Ace
see.
Attorney trivia.
yes, exactly.
I'll see you all on Thursday for Drawing and
Yes.
Dragons.
Indeed, for finishing Unfollow, maybe.
Oh, I'm excited.
I mean,
Okay.
we're gonna try. We're gonna see if we get there.
You can do it. I believe in you. Alrighty. Good night, everyone. It was
Good
great to be
night.
back. I'll see y'all later.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye. But yeah, Reunion and Turnabout has way. Is it way more episodes than Turnabout Samurai? Hold on. Yes, it is. Whoops. Turnabout Samurai has 17 episodes. Reunion and Turnabout has 32 episodes. So, yeah, they may be long, but such is life. It's just how it'll be. Why do I feel like that's not right? It's because it's not. Beautiful. But yeah, so if the redirects are long, so be it. I have set the precedents, yes, that there will always be one video. and not cut up. And that's how it is. That is true, Enthuse. They're not over twice as long. They're at like 26 minutes, and I currently try to aim for 15. The first turnabout, the first video ever I do, which is the first turnabout I do, it is just one video because it's 45 minutes, so it would have been 3 episodes. Turnabout Sisters would have more in length. How many? Turnabout Samurai does start off longer. And then, no, Turnabout Samurai is all longer. So that is true. Oh, goodness, Nicole. Do you get paid overtime? I hope so if you're working overtime. Can I see the amount of time in a playlist? How long it is? How many minutes? Not easily. Not easily. Such is life. Oh my goodness, Nicole. Dang. I'm so sorry. You should be getting paid overtime. How long does the internship period last? Goodness. The trial period. I'm in my trial period still, and all I don't get is benefits. But I do get overtime. Boop. Or he really wants to work on something else, but it's Patreon only, Ko-fi only. So sad. Not even Medic. I just want to work on it so bad. I gotta finish this reel though. Oh. Dang. What can medics look forward to? Well, there is of course 3 more. That includes the one that comes out Thursday. Quote unquote Valentine's Day images to get through everybody, and they just keep getting better in my opinion. Yeah, so the tie set is Valentine's Day. Then I have 2 St. Patty's Day themed ones that I have started working on, and then another St. Patty's Day themed one that I don't know if it'll be medic or not. It's not technically spicy. It's like it's Pocky Day level, so it's like I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But you know, Leprechaun Hotzen's just too good. Leprechaun Hotzen's just too good. And I was working on one earlier, but I want to work on the ambiguous, maybe it'll be medic only, maybe it won't, to heal my soul. But we'll see. And that's the goal. But I'm very excited for the next 2 whatchamahoos tie set ones. They're good. I love that set. Oh, what if I flip? Nice. Could I animate this easier if I made these all different layers? Yes. Am I going to? No. Because I'm lazy? Yeah. Does it technically make my life harder? Who knows? But we're trying to edit these in a style that I did Phoenix, kind of. Where we don't care if it's a little messy or not. Yes. Ooh, I love the, I'll give you the titles of the medic. I'll give you the titles of all the pieces. Because they're good. Hold on. Where did I say? I sent it to Mars. It says titles. Because usually what happens is I'm kind of dealing, and then I'm like... And then I vibe as image. Boop, boop, boop. So many images. Ah, yes. They are titled Thief and Curiosity. And then I had one that was Brain Rot that I don't have a name for. And that's the one that's maybe not medic. This is so cute and I want to do it. The pain. Okay, how does this work now? Bring it out. That's what I gotta do. I gotta, go in and simplify the boys' designs as much as possible. And if I move the hand over, that should fix my problem. Move it down more. Like that. We're lazy animating because if I try to fancy animate, it'll just be too much. And it'll never be done. And I really want to get it done. Because I really don't want this to end up in the whatever pile. Ooh, doing a little fanfic writing, Pastry Puff. Very nice. Too bad Mars left. And she will be proud. Oh. Goodness. My nose is itchy. How do I... Okay. Like this. Can I... Should I drop the shoulder? Maybe I should drop the shoulder. Ah, I see. Very nice. Yes, I remember. That one was the crossover, though, right? With something else? Come on, elbow. No? Oh, then I don't know what I'm talking... Thought something was a crossover. Maybe I'm thinking something else. It's all brain rotten here. Keeping it all straight. Okay, that's a hand. That's a thumb. Let's move like that. Yeah, that's better. Lazy animation for the win. Perfect. I see. Found family is beautiful. We love a good found family. I think you're really gonna like Dungeon Meshi. Pastry Puff. Okay, gonna be great. It definitely has found family vibes to it. It's very nice and cute. It's not all fun and rainbows though, sadly. Oh, Nicole, I'm in so much pain. Let me tell you the non-spoiler things that I sent to Mars when I told her. If someone wants to tune out, Pastry Puff, if you want to tune out, this is not like really any spoilers. It's like vibe things. But this is what I'll message in the chat when it's over. But this is what I wrote. I wrote this to Mars. Where is it? So I read it and I went, so Dungeon Meshi book 13 equals, well, fuck. My boy is smart, but pain. I don't think I've ever had such a desire to draw like this, to draw body horror stuff. The tea has calmed. Took me on a fucking ride. I think I don't. Yeah. ... Yeah. I don't really know how to feel. I wish I could watch Fairy Tail to heal my soul, but I need to edit videos. And now I have too many Dungeon Meshi big art ideas. There we go. That is how my book 13 went. But now Pastry Puff's gonna read Dungeon Meshi. So yay! Very excited. But yeah, I have some big art ideas for sets, but sets are the death of me because I can't have just one. And that's the pain. Ooh. I literally, Nicole, I did like a really, really quick, rough, like barely even noticeable of what it is. And it's Dungeon Meshi related. I don't think anyone would notice if I didn't say that it was. A little animation. Because I just don't have the time to do the vision that I have for it. I don't think I could ever. But damn. Okay. I will tag you for any Dungeon Meshi art I make. You saw the Laos one from last year though, right? That's an old one now. It was from November. But yeah. It's yours. Fine, it's my responsibility. Then I'll try to remember to send you the little thing I made. It's really, really incredibly rough animation, but like honestly, you can't even tell who it is. But you'll know the vibe if I send it to you. It's unfair you get books early, though. How dare you? How dare you get translated sooner, huh? I don't even know. I should check if they have book 14 ready for release. Ready for pre-order. Dungeon Meshi 14. Oh! Yes, I can pre-order it! Let me pre-order it. July! Alright. Fucking pre-ordering it. The cover isn't even available yet. Good, making sure nobody can see my screen as put in my address. Boop. And this one. Success. Yes, yes, yes. Amazing. Top tier. Place my order. Yeah. Well, I hope you'll get the item soon. Mail takes a while sometimes. I don't know. Post office really declined after the pandemic hit. Real sad. If it's not soon, I will send another one as I promised. I have them now, the backups. But I have no way of knowing. But instead you get Dungeon Meshi early, so you know, it's straight off. Oh. That's how the world works. Yeah, I know. I hope you get him, Nicole. Everybody else's has made it, so I think, you know, I think it's just a distance thing. I'm certain that yours will make it, and I think what happened to Enthuse's was a very weird niche issue where Enthuse was out of town when the package arrived, and I think just the shape of the package and probably where they put it, it might have just literally gotten blown away. I know, Enthuse. I have to get Mars now that Mars is not sick anymore. I will get Mars to sign it this weekend, and then it will get sent out on Monday. So, and then it should only take a week after that. But sadly there will be less goodies Enthused just because I physically don't have as many stickers as I did. Your roommate had a package stolen a few days ago too. Oh, you think it was stolen then? Oof. Terrible. It did look big. Has your Outcast poster, your little hand-drawn doodle of, I think you had a Sinnet. And, oh, here. I think I can show... will I even get to find it in the amount of images that I show Mars? I send Mars so many images. Is it that? No. La la la. Oh my god. Ah, yes! Okay, which one was Enthuse? Okay, this is it. Enthuse. Yeah, and that would have been the shape, the type of package that it was. All right. Well, hopefully the other place won't have a thief, but this Enthuse, this was your Sinnet. Such a cutie. You'll get a different one. And you know what, Enthuse? I'll let you choose. Do you want another Sinnet? Or do you want a different character? An Outcast character, of course. I'll show the other people's who's got theirs who didn't send it. Just because they're lame for not showing them off. This was Jamie's. I think Jamie showed theirs, but this was Dichotomies. And then this was Oscar's. You love saying it gives you more? Alright, that's what I thought. I tried to pick the characters that I thought everybody liked the most. Yeah, official art doodles. So you have one coming, Nicole. I won't show it because I hope you get to see it first. If it somehow never comes. And a doodle will be involved. Because, I very much enjoy sketching. This is my whole thing. Alright, Nicole, do you use an iPad? You do, don't you? To draw. Do you have a sketchbook as well? Like a traditional sketchbook? Because I'm constantly thinking about trying to, like, getting an iPad, right? I'm constantly thinking about getting an iPad. Obviously, I do a lot of digital art, you know, and it's great and I love it. But I do really like having the skills to sketch in my sketchbook still. And, you know, because I've continued to do it, I've gotten better and it's allowed me to, like, you know, be better. Like, I didn't use the... I was pretty fast with my sketches and everything. All your doodles come from your iPad. So yeah, see, that's my fear, right? Is that if I get an iPad, well, it's like, oh, you can work on stuff, you know, digitally, and I can work on, like, illustrations for Ko-fi and things remotely. It's also like, I don't know if I'll be able to do sketchbook doodles, and I don't want to lose that, because I gotta say, I did this spread, right? And it was spurred on by Mars saying emo Milano. And I have a whole spread, so that's 2 whole pages in my sketchbook inspired by the words emo Milano from Mars. And I'm so happy with how they came out. And it's like, ooh, I don't want to lose that. And I feel like if I get an iPad, I'll just never ever want to traditionally sketch again. But such is life. Alright, guys. I think we will be ending here today. As Dylan blows really cold air onto me with magic finger powers. He's moving it towards my direction. Yeah, that's why I'm always back and forth, Nicole. I feel like I wouldn't have the willpower. But let's not forget. I save, and then look, I'm not forgetting the ending. Here it is. Thank you, YouTube channel members. If any of you are watching the VOD, thank you to you guys. I know Nicole's here in chat. Thank you to everybody.
This is the spirit of Dylan thanking the YouTube channel members.
I've been possessed. Well, yeah, it was Nicole. What a Chad. What an absolute unit. Alright, guys. Thanks for hanging out. And glad Mars could make it today. And we hope to see you all on Thursday to hopefully watch me finish the Omphalo art. Alright, guys. Good night. Have a lovely hump day tomorrow. Or today. And we'll see you then. Good night.